Well, we've finally done it. This is ROM Hack Races. Welcome back to Saturday night. Welcome one and all. You are here for something very historic. If this is your first time or your 239th time, we've got something you have never seen before. Welcome. It's Saturday night, and I hope you're ready for some fun. It is the very first 10 out of 10 difficulty ROM Hack Race level we have ever had. If you are just joining us and you've never seen this before, the racers have never seen this before either. Every Saturday night we get together and race a never before seen Super Mario World Kaizo level. And normally they're a little bit easier than this. The racers are going to have to improvise, but tonight we got a little bit of a different rule set. We've got a lot to talk about and a lot of fun to have. I'm really loving the hype in chat right now, and I love to see more of it. So put some noise up, make some noise collectively in your homes and where you're at, and get ready for Transmogrification from GUI. And I'll give you the official breakdown here. Execution, we got that big 10 out of 10, first in ROM Hack Race history. Brain Factor was ranked a 9 tonight, and Length was ranked an 8. There are 2 sections in total, and unlike previous races, 2 things are different tonight. 1, the racers are getting to see a clear video. Some of the racers have elected not to watch that on their own because they'd like to just do that, try it for themselves. I think we've got 16 signups tonight, and the racers who have elected not to watch the clear video include Louis Duce, Milgrips, 3D Salmon, TJB, You Fail Me, Halcyon, and 4H, Nathan MG, Mr. Hank Scorpio, and Nix Kills Myths. We've also got, we got Flips in here, we got Halcyon, we got Louis, we got Milgrips, Mr. Hank Scorpio, we got Nathan MG, we got Roke Games, we got Rubens Correa, we got Shavdo, we got TJB, Gossip Greg, and You Fail Me. Everybody has come out for this one tonight. Wow. I am really excited for everyone to see this, and for everyone to give this a try. Like I said, the racers have the ability to watch a clear video, so the ones who are not electing to do that are perhaps at a disadvantage, but I honestly appreciate the fortitude, the strength. The racers are now able to check the clear video out, which is something we don't normally do. And yeah, we're about to get ready to get going. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'm going to try to give you the play-by-play and explain things along the way. This is a special 3-hour broadcast. We normally start at 8. We're starting an hour early tonight, just to kind of see if we can get everybody through. We've done our best to try to learn some lessons from previous tough races and kind of make this more accessible, if that's something that can be said about a 10 out of 10. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, you can check out romhackraces.com, jump on the Discord server from there, download this patch if you want to give it a try, and get comfy, because we're gonna be hanging out and just enjoying what we've got here. A little bit something different for tonight as well, because of the grind factor. We are letting the racers opt to have their mic on, and we are just kind of playing some music behind this, so the racers can talk to their own chats or whatever they want to do, because it makes the time go by a little bit. And also, speaking of friends, to share the road, I'm glad to see everybody in chat here. Thank you for coming out tonight. I hope you're ready for some fun. And also, I think our good friend, yours and mine, Dr. No, on the restream tonight is going to be jumping in and maybe saying hey to everybody. I wanted to shout out real quick while we get started the testers who worked on this. I worked on this, and I can tell you for sure that I did RTA clear this, so it is possible. RB Pimlico, Fen, and Silent Snake also helped out. We got Starlord, Cherry, V Tonight Scouting, and Doc on the restream. And here we go. Use LRR to drop your power up from the item box if you have one. And the red coins are told to show where to shoot fireballs and how many. So now some of these racers have seen the clear, some racers have not, and we are ready to begin. This is a tough level, and this is going to be a grind. So hang out, and we're going to see what's what. There's a lot to talk about here, and I'm going to try to give it to you slowly. If you have any questions or something that I didn't explain, please feel free to just ask, hey, what's going on with this? Or you want to learn a little bit more about Kaizo. We have some time to talk about this, I think. Or maybe we don't, because You Fail Me here, and looks like Roke Games in the lower left is making some big progress already. right off the bat, this level is starting with that green shell nudge, bouncing that into the wall, and then tossing the red shell up to hit the block, drop the fire flower. And because we were told this was a power-ups, this is a power-ups level, we're getting the fire flower, and that's going to be used to clear the way a little bit. If you're watching, you fail me over there, also Roke in the on the left side of the screen. You're going to see they're using the Bonsai Bill trick, and they're shooting a fireball through there. You fail me's already putting that together. Very good. Keep your eye on the left side here. They're using the fire to get that ice block out of the way and clear the path. And they're using that really interesting Bonsai Bill trick. You can, if you bop a Bonsai Bill while it's just floating around in the air, if you catch up to it while it's falling, you can bounce on it again. And it's a neat little setup here that GUI's designed, where there's not actually a block. Normally you would bounce your, you'd bonk on the Bonsai Bill and then you'd hit a block that pushes you down faster. And GUI's got a cool setup here which doesn't need that to go on, which is pretty interesting actually. I think that's kind of cool. And it's really pretty smooth once you get into it. This is a level that I think is, we talked a bit about, whether or not we wanted to share the clear video. Some racers are not opting for that, but we thought it would be a good idea because at a certain point of difficulty, it is just taking a long time to get to where you need to be. And so we thought maybe it would smooth out a little bit of that learning process by just kind of being like, here, this is what you do. It's really tough to do, so, you can just see what's going on. So get comfy. I'm trying to pace myself here. We got 3 minutes in. We scheduled 3 hours for this broadcast, and this is already really good progress. I'm sort of relying on you all. Please feel free to ask questions, call things out. If you want to learn about something, there's a lot going on screen. So if you didn't catch something or I didn't explain something, go right ahead and ask it. That's totally cool. Louis Duce, lower left-hand corner. What's this? Making some really quick progress. So Louis gotten to, yep, there it is, the cape section. Now remember at the beginning, the message box mentioned that you can switch your power up with L and R. And so in normal vanilla Mario world, which is kind of something we don't really see that much in Kaizo to begin with, is power up usage. In normal vanilla Mario, you'd have to press select or take damage to make the item in your reserve box fall. And in this case, you can press L or R to instantly switch those power-ups. Yes, that's correct. The creators were, or the players were allowed to watch the clear video if they wanted to ahead of time. However, several racers are opting not to. Yeah, and the reason we started earlier tonight is because it's a 10 out of 10 level, and we thought giving some extra time for the broadcast would be a good idea. That way we could get some clears. We learned a little bit from having tough levels in the past, and so we're trying to smooth that experience out for everybody. We certainly would like to have tough levels, but certain considerations need to be made in order to keep people having fun, right? We don't want to frustrate people, and there's certain frustrations that levels like this can kind of lead into. And also, if you all want to watch the clear video, you can jump on the ROM Hack Races Discord right now. It's been posted in race levels, and you can take a look. If you, the audience, just want to see what's going on here, can get a little sneak peek. But these racers are really doing a really good job with this. You Fail Me, Louis Duce, and Halcyon here in the lower right, definitely starting to understand how this level is going to work. So we're building up a little bit. GUI's kind of ramping up the action here. Louis Duce in the lower left-hand corner is going for that. They're going to run, they're going to get that P-speed, and then they are going to get the cape. Yeah, you fail me. They're throwing that grab block. The grab block goes forward and kills all the moles, and then it opens the block containing the cape. They're going to run up, they're going to grab that cape. And now, at that point, we have 2 power-ups. In Vanilla Mario World, you have the Fire Flower, you touch a cape, and it puts the item in your reserve box. And now since we have 2, now the players can start switching. And you're starting to see that. And I think the racers are starting to catch on a little bit about what's going on here. They're going to start switching power-ups. Word. Yeah, it's just we're doing some showcases. At first I was like, wait a minute, there's more than one racers here, but this is kind of interesting. We can do some showcases and kind of show off what certain racers are up to right now. Keep in mind, this is a long grind, so we've got really talented scouts watching out, making sure you're not gonna miss anything. So don't worry about it. Don't worry. Let's focus right now on YouFailMe's gameplay here. This is tight, and they're really having good consistency. We talk a lot about consistency and one-shots being an important part of the race. And with a difficulty factor like this, you're gonna see more consistency coming into play. One-shots are more valuable because they're harder to get in this situation. And yeah, this is actually kind of clever. Now, don't make the mistake. Pausing and taking a look at things, that's actually a really good strat. Yeah, they're not just sitting there. They're taking a look and they're considering what they have to do. So we're getting to this spot now where 2 items, and we're going to be switching between those 2 items in order to get through. And that is kind of what you're starting to see. And the racers are picking up on that. Because remember, L and R will switch it instantaneously. And that prevents them from needing to drop the item and wait for it and touch it as it's falling. Which lets them do some really cool stuff. So there goes Louis. Here we go. Yup, Louis Duce making a little bit of progress. And Roke as well in the upper right. And starting to jump into that spin fly obstacle. They're stuck to the ceiling because they have P-speed. And then they want to land and immediately switch to the fire flower in order to shoot some fire that'll get that ice block out of the way, and then immediately switch back to the cape so they can keep flying and running, all while moving forward and maintaining their P-speed. Because if that were to stop, if they were to stop moving forward, then you're not going to be able to make the next jump. And I hope that makes sense. Because it's definitely making sense to Halcyon. Oh, look out! Whoa! Halcyon in the lower right here. I think that's the farthest I've seen so far. And they have gotten through that spin fly obstacle, and they have got a chance to learn something new. And this is clever too. They're hanging out and they're looking at this. And that's especially helpful because there are a lot of different tiles on the screen. You know, and that's they all serve a function. But sometimes you might want to take a look and sort of parse things out a little bit better. And that's easier when you're not flying through everything at 100 miles an hour. Yeah, this is some consistency. Look at this. Halcyon getting close enough to that thwomp to dodge it. So once they get through there, they're spin flying. And because of that, they have their takeoff meter. They're stuck to the ceiling. So for a certain amount of horizontal distance while they're traveling through that area, they will be stuck to the ceiling and they won't fall down into the blocks below them. In that time, they get close to the thwomp, thereby activating and dropping it. They hold up and hesitate. Here it comes. They're about to do it. They're going to do maybe, they're going to do it for sure. They're going to hold up, they're going to hesitate, and then they're going to move forward. But that motion has to be very carefully timed because they only have so much takeoff meter to work with. There, that's not an infinite amount of ceiling stick. I'm assuming this is kind of familiar for most people, and if you have questions, please ask. I'm trying to tilt the commentary a bit for those that might not have ever seen this before or don't know how this works. So if you're the expert here and you know, aha, they're sticking to the ceiling with Spinfly, then, you know, why aren't you racing? There we go, Halcyon, look at that. Now, this trick was in the past considered TAS only. A long, long time ago in a Mario Galaxy not too far away, Sticky Fly was considered TAS only. You're flying with the cape puffed out. And when you do that, you can enter a dive bomb state. When you're diving, you can do a big pull and go up again. But if you do that right as you're under a ceiling, the game will get you stuck. And it will think that you're constantly rising. It hasn't finished rising yet. And so it will just keep you stuck to the ceiling until that ceiling goes away. Now, there's even some more tricks you can do while you're in that state. But that's the general idea here. And, you know, something that used to be considered TAS only is now commonplace enough that it's just sort of a fun middle trick in the middle of this level with even more difficult things in it. Yo, let's say, hey, TJB, definitely a contender. You are looking at some really strong players right now. Halcyon, TJB, Louis Duce, and You Fail Me. I am really impressed with the progress here. This is splendid. I don't want to count too many chickens before they're hatched or anything, but in speculating about this before the race even, I was kind of starting to think we might see a sub 2 hour, sub 3 hour clear. I think we're going to get a clear. At the risk of commentator cursing things, you know, I think it's going to happen. And with skills like what Halcyon's got, look at this. Now Halcyon has a chance to learn, yeah. Oh my gosh, Louis Duce at exactly the same point. They have both achieved the sticky fly, which is a hilarious sentence to say, I know. Say it quietly to yourself in your head. It's still funny. And this is really starting to show as a battle of consistency right now. Look at this. Yo, Halcyon, oh my word. Yep. And Halcyon making another step of progress. Yep. They have gotten that sticky fly. So there's a little catch. And actually in testing, this one actually screwed me up. And I had to be like, what am I doing? There is a little catch in that sticky fly obstacle. There, You Fail Me. Take a look at You Fail Me's screen. They're standing right by it. You're going to dive under those outlined Kaizo blocks. And now you're stuck to the ceiling. Except that pink block is a death block. And so in order to avoid that, you have to let go of left, which is holding you to the ceiling, right as you're approaching the block, and then immediately repress left in order to re-stick to the ceiling. You're kind of like jumping the block. You're skipping it a little bit. And you have to time that correctly. Or else you will crash into it. And so that's what like You Fail Me's taking a look at. That's what Louis Duce is looking at. They're noticing that sticky fly obstacle has another little trick to it. And you might see them even die on that now because because it's a tight moment of timing. Right now, at this moment, we've got 17 brave souls who have signed up for this. And the scouts are rotating folks in and letting us know who to be paying attention to. Oh, yeah, that is the case. Yeah, if you notice that the one power-up gets stuck to your head, that's just kind of some weirdism about this ASM, and it doesn't pertain to the level. It's just kind of something that happens. The players can instantly switch their power-up with L or R. If you're just joining us, that might be something that's a little bit hard to notice. Normally, you have to make the power-up fall out of your box and touch it in order to turn into the new power, but in this ASM, they can switch quickly, and that's what's allowing them to do these tricks. They otherwise wouldn't be able to catch the power up fast enough. Wow, this is good, man. 14 minutes in, and this is some really solid progress. I am impressed. Is this level part of a planned hack? That's a good question. I think, I'm not sure, but, you know, GUI, the maker of this hack, if you like this, has actually 8 submitted hacks on SMW Central, including, but not limited to, Flying with Style, Super Louis Duce World 1 and 2, and Way of the Tempest, all of which are really fun. So if you like this kind of gameplay, you can play some GUI levels right now, and they might make your mind a little GUI. Brad Brains, yo, hey, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, everybody. It's ROM Hack Races, week 239, a 10 out of 10 level. Keep your eye on, on everybody right now. Jank Pickle, You Fail Me, TJB, and Halcyon. But Halcyon in the upper left right now with some big progress. Getting under that sticky fly and trying to make their way through the obstacle. We're melting ice with fire here, and we're pressing L or R to instantaneously switch power-ups. So it's a cape and a fire level as we do item abuse and make it through alive. Tonight we're starting an hour earlier, and the racers have had the option to watch the clear video. However, a lot of folks on screen have elected not to do that, just as an extra challenge. Oh yeah, excuse me, I was made aware of this. Sorry I missed the question. How long did it take for me or testers to clear this? When I was working with it, normally when I'm testing, which I did test for this week, took about 2 hours with save states because I was going through with save states and actually figuring out what the tricks were and trying to give some feedback about how things worked. I don't know if I should say how long my clear time was without save states when I knew all the tricks after save state practice. So like myself as a tester, I had the advantage of first I get to save state to learn everything, and then I actually played it, RTA. And that puts me at a distinct advantage that the racers don't have. So comparing my clear time to the racers' clear time is a little bit apples to oranges in that case. I don't know if I should say how long my non RTA time was. But Halcyon, TJB, Jank Pickle, you feel me, making this look easy right now, even though this is a 10 out of 10, the first ever in ROM Hack Race's history. I'll say when someone was beat it. None of the players have ever played this. That is correct. Every Saturday here on ROM Hack Races, we have a never before seen level. And the racers just have to improvise. It's a challenge of sight reading and, just beating whatever you're presented with and you don't know what it is. However, this week in particular, because of the difficulty, the racers were allowed to see a clear video. Honestly, I think a lot of them on stream have not watched it just as their own choice. But if they wanted to, they had that option. And if you're new, this is a historic first. We generally have levels that are a little bit easier than this, but we want to let makers make what they want to make. I've always felt that that's important, and that the races are just as much of a showcase of the makers' abilities and their style and skill as it is the racers. The makers have to make something cool in the first place. You fail me. What is this? Lower right-hand corner. You fail me. Woohoo! Spicy. Just as Halcyon gets through that, and that's the first person I've seen get past the second sticky fly obstacle. The second bonsai bill. You got that one sticky fly and then the other bonsai bill there that they crash into the bonsai bill right at the end of that, and that they're taking damage in that section, but because they have their cape puffed out, they don't take damage. In fact, they just get iframes and lose their flight status. This is something that's pretty common for cape players. It's like cape iframes. Here we go. Halcyon, upper left-hand corner, 4 major progress. Oh my gosh. 18 minutes and 45 seconds in, and we have got a dead heat at the end of the first section. You fail me versus Halcyon right now. Intense. That is true. Yes, the giant ones are called bonsai builds. Can they watch the video mid-race? Yes, they can. If they want to do that, they could certainly pause and reference it. Really though, a lot of racers are opting not to watch the video at all, and that's very respectable. Gotta let everyone have the kind of fun that they want to have, and that's exactly why there is a video for this level in the first place. Do we know why they're called bonsai bills? I don't know. The Super Mario World manual said so. How dare we question Miyamoto? Because Miyamoto willed it to be so. True story, I don't know. It's Nathan MG in the lower left. You fail me on the opposite side. Germdove and Halcyon up top. Fantastic here. I wonder if, oh geez, you fail me, lower right-hand corner. Look at this consistency. And yeah, what is going on here? So you fail me. They could either check the video, or they could just kind of go for it. Taking a minute to pause and look at this situation. Maybe that will provide some insight. Halcyon in the upper left, back at that same part, but they can't get up. And Nathan, too. Wow. I am so impressed. Here goes You Fail Me again in the lower right. Check it out. Oh my gosh, You Fail Me. You fail me. Almost. Wow. Now that's an encouraging sight. Let me tell you what. That's a pipe. And normally, you might think that, it might be some progress or something. That's a read. We would say that's a sight read. That's the first time YouFailMe got to that obstacle, and they managed to figure out what it was, see it, and do it immediately. That's going to be really strong for them because now they have more knowledge. And YouFailMe definitely in the lead right now in the lower right-hand corner. With that consistency, they are back again. Oh my word, yeah. And now the tricks get even harder here before this up pipe. But keep your eye on the lower right-hand corner right now. They're in a dangerous position. And this is where, like I was trying to say, consistency comes into play. Uh-oh. Halcyon. Hey, bud. Halcyon. Sort of up in the sky right now. In the upper left there. Halcyon seems to have gotten out of bounds, refusing to let the level get them down, refusing to compromise, refusing to just be told what to do, and now the level's we gotta pay the price here. And you gotta figure, I think Halcyon is looking real hard at their options here. Yeah, if I were Halcyon, I'd be looking real hard at my options here before I just give up and reset. You know, take a good long look at this and see if something can be done. So could be now. YouFailMe with the regular skills coming in hot here, but yeah, all eyes on Halcyon right now as they try to figure out if they could get out of the wall here. 10 out of 10 or 0 out of 1. Ah ha ha ha. What's this? Oh my. That's big knowledge at any rate. Wow. That's big knowledge though. Now Halcyon is the only one that knows what is coming up after that pipe. YouFailMe knows. Doesn't know, but they've been a little bit farther. And that is, yep, a little bit of anti-cheese. The pipe is not necessarily safety. You need to have both of your power-ups there, ensuring that you've done it the right way. And, ooh, YouFailMe, trying to get it done the right way. I know, who would have thought? Anti-cheese. Although, I don't know. I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I were Halcyon right now, I might be thinking about another attempt at that. Yes. And I think Halcyon is. Notice that they did manage to get out of the ceiling with both their power-ups intact, and then they took damage on the thwomps. Meanwhile, here goes YouFailMe again for another try, the regular, legit way. But they are being held up right now at a very difficult trick. Yoshi Fly. It's been called many things. Dark magic. Impossible. What the heck? Why are you making me do this? Shorthand for every player's nightmare. Yoshi Fly, of course, one of the most difficult cape techniques you could ask for. Being done pretty fairly here, but certainly not one for beginners. It is a method of, well, flying on Yoshi. Normally when Mario has his cape puffed out, you are, just solo flying up there. But it's possible to have flight states and then get on Yoshi's back. When you do that, you are now flying, but you're on Yoshi, and the game doesn't really know what to do with that. And so you can keep both of those states going. And in this case, what the level is asking for is a dive bomb. The way to think about this, hold up though, Halcyon, what do you got for us? That's a good try though. That's a good try. This is the first race where they were given a clear video, that is correct. And yeah, so Yoshi Fly. Now you're on Yoshi and you're flying and you're in flight state. But since Yoshi doesn't really want that, you have to do weird stuff to keep that going. And you can think of it like you're still in the cape puffed out flying state. You just can't see that because there's no graphic for that. The devs didn't include that or think anyone would really do that. And so what you want to do is get a dive bomb. And you normally do that by holding forward and then pulling back at the right moment. And then you whoop and you go up in the air. Except for when you're riding Yoshi and flying, pressing the opposite direction will turn you around and you won't get your dive bomb that way. So you have to employ trickery. Yoshi won't turn around. If you're pressing backwards at the exact same moment that Yoshi's tongue is fully extended, and you may call that like a little moonwalk. And then Yoshi will move backwards, but not actually turn around backward. That's the key to getting the dive bomb. So watch for it if You Fail Me gets back, or if anyone else can get there, which they will get there. Watch for them. What they want to do in that moment is get on Yoshi. Here goes Nathan MG for their try, upper right-hand corner. Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, so that was a perfect example. Thank you, Nathan, for that very perfect example there. They want to get on Yoshi, and they're flying. And now they want to dive forward a little bit and then extend Yoshi's tongue. At the right moment, while the tongue is extended, press back, and then they're going to go whoop right up in the air. It's a Yoshi dive bomb, and it is a very advanced move to be pulling out here. If anybody's going to be up to it, though, You Fail Me, lower right. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Now, a chance. You Fail Me in the oh my gosh. What side of the screen is You Fail Me on? They're in the lower right. They had a shot at saving that. This is interesting now. It's a battle of the intended strats versus the cheese. Shavda putting her hat in the ring in the lower left. Nathan, though. Oh, watch out. Nathan, MG. Getting to that Yoshi fly as well. But this is a battle of the, looks like Halcyon is kind of committed for the cheese strat right now. And this is kind of turning into a battle of, you know, do you try to break the rules or do you try to follow the rules? Lawful good, lawful evil, what's it going to be? Looks like You Fail Me is, you know, getting a chance to build that consistency. And this is something you kind of are asking yourself in a race. Do you want to spend the time? You know, all the time that you spend chasing this cheese might not work out. And you might have just been better off learning the intended strats here. Is it more trouble than it's worth? Nathan maybe looking for a little bit of cheese there. This would also be a spot, if the racers are having a little bit of a tough time with Yoshi Fly, this could be a good spot to reference the clear video. Just, you know, you don't even have to, because you already know the trick, right? You're not even, you know, wouldn't be spoiling anything if you didn't want that for yourself tonight. But you could see how the inputs work and where the timing is. The crucial thing is when you're pressing X or Y to extend the tongue, that input is earlier than you think. Because you have to compensate for the amount of time it takes for Yoshi to extend his tongue in the first place. And here goes You Fail Me in the lower right-hand corner, hanging on for dear life. Oh my gosh, no. Hanging on for dear life, trying to save that situation. They even had a chance at landing on the little ghost block and getting in. That was a very valiant effort. But really, man, the consistency is rewarded here. You Fail Me, I think, is playing very strongly because they don't really need much more practice at the other obstacles. And look at this, they are right back here again. You Fail Me, the most dangerous racer on the screen right now, far and away. Although not to count out. These are very strong players playing against other really strong players, so don't go chasing waterfalls. Nathan here about to show us all up. Nathan MG. Oh, watch it. I'm starting to also notice that maybe the racers are thinking that there might be a little bit of a different way to do this. Like maybe they could bail off Yoshi and avoid the thwomps or do some kind of turnaround thing. And they might be right, actually. How are you all doing? Hey, by the way, while we're watching You Fail Me here in the lower right go for another great attempt. How are you feeling? You know, how's your Friday night? I'm sorry, it's Saturday night. How was your Friday night? I'm curious about that too. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're all having a great time. Big shout outs to like Dr. No running the restream tonight. We got Scouts watching everybody, Star-Lord and Cherry Evie helping us out. We got many shout outs to give, but we got an exciting race happening right now. Thanks for being a part of it. You Fail Me. Close, though. We're going to check in here. What's up, Gossip Greg? In the lower left-hand corner. Now, this is kind of cool. I actually, Gossip Greg, you know, I don't get to see them play that often, but they are actually a really strong player. Check the lower left because we might be seeing a clear here like right now. Okay. They have a little bit to learn. A little bit there. Going for that spin fly where a spin fly is not going to work. When you spin fly at that moment, as they did, you go up into those pink death blocks up there and you're toast. And back again, Halcyon. Back again, I see. Just dropping in. I don't know. I'm curious to see how that's gonna play out. What's it gonna be? Is Halcyon gonna find a cheese, or is You Fail Me gonna find strength of conviction and consistency? You Fail Me, here we go. Okay, now You Fail Me. All eyes on the lower right-hand corner for the checkpoint. They got it. Let's go. H. And that is the first checkpoint of the night. You Fail Me. 32 minutes, 42 seconds. That's on pace for a regular Saturday ROM hack race. That is the first one. H for You Fail Me, blasting through with that good Yoshi dive. They preserved their flight speed. So when you fly through the pipe, if you're flying through a pipe and you enter it, you will be flying on the other side of the pipe. They were able to react quickly enough, and they were able to make it through with that. So, looks like the intended strats win out this time. Halcyon still trying for that cheese, and I hope they get it. Meanwhile, You Fail Me's got some learning to do, and we got a brand new section in the lower right. Now, this is big. Big for You Fail Me. Now, little do they know, but they are unopposed right now. And so this is like You Fail Me's time in the money wind tunnel where you grab the dollar bills. All the time they spend here is just accumulating knowledge and progress that the other racers will also have to accumulate. And that puts them at a distinct advantage. And as you can see, wow, making some big progress here. Especially because You Fail Me already knows the gimmick. They understand what's going on now. And so you gotta figure, you know, what's probably going through their mind is like, okay, I know this, now we're just gonna do it. They know about the power-up switching. They know about the fireball shots. They know how to read the indication. So this second section, you might see some real fast speed. Looks like Roke Games here, also going for TJB, Halcyon. Working hard for that checkpoint. Don't count them out yet. Could be anybody's race at any moment. You Fail Me. Fast learner. So I gotta shout out this intro trick here. I really like it. A really neat little trick, and it happens so fast that you might not even really notice what's going on. Wow, the sync on the left side of the screen right now is amazing. This is, oh my gosh, the sync was amazing. Ah, that was amazing. But so you might not notice what's going on with the intro trick in the second section You Fail Me's on here. There is a shell stacked behind that P-switch. And when they start the level, they spawn and they fall and they press the switch. And they also, in that moment, kick the shell. They are then throwing the stump of the P-switch as it expires and disappears. It's still an object, you can still grab it. And they're throwing it forward, and that is hitting a block and opening the way. And you don't blink or you'll miss it, but if you keep your eyes on You Fail Me, you'll see them nudge the shell and then throw the P-switch stump. And that all kind of happens in a nice swish motion, and gets him right out of there. We're getting close. We got yeah, Louis. We got Louis. We got TJB. Oh, excuse me, that's an H. Oh, hey, what do you know? What do you know? well, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, good job. I don't mean to downplay. That's a serious achievement. But Louis Duce, a serious player. And it's nice to see a little bit of competition here on the second section. So upper left-hand corner of your screen, that's Louis Duce, and You Fail Me in the lower right. There we go. So we've got scouts who are watching all the streams and letting us know who takes the lead, who we should rotate in. There are a lot of folks right now, and trying to fit everyone in, kind of give everybody that shout out. We want to try to get everybody's clears in, and make sure everybody gets their moment to do the cool thing. But yeah, right now race is Louis and You Fail Me, and I don't know right now, because You Fail Me with a little bit of extra time here, but it doesn't seem like Louis is taking too long to learn it. This is intense. I think we're gonna see some clears. I absolutely think. I think was the 10 out of 10 rating a little? I don't know. Dude, what do you think? I'm asking chat this. Does this look like a 10 out of 10 level to you? It feels like a 10 out of 10. It felt like that in testing. And here we go. Yeah, Louis Duce. Wow. And now we're tied. Yep, we got a dead heat now. Louis Duce and You Fail Me have like the same amount of experience and the same amount of progress. They've been to about the same point. So it's that consistency again, right? They've learned some things, but now they need to do that every time. Meanwhile, Halcyon looking for that Yoshi dive. Oh, they're about to get it. Upper right-hand corner, and it's Halcyon not in the pipe. Bummer. When we're looking at the difficulty ranking for levels, that can be more subjective than it gets credit for. And a really strong player might look at this and think this is not a 10 out of 10. And a really inexperienced player might look at this and think this is absolutely 11 or 100 out of 10. The job of giving ratings is less an attempt to objectively define what it is on a sort of a Maz hardness scale, and more to manage expectation. And what we've learned over the course of doing many races is that the thing that seems to frustrate players the most, and rightly so, is lack of expectations being met. That players tend to get exceptionally frustrated when they didn't know it was going to be a really tough level. And we've geared a lot of our rating and testing systems toward that end, toward giving people the relevant information so their expectations can be managed. And that's a little bit of the thinking that went into giving this a 10 out of 10. And I feel like that's a good decision. I stand by that, although it wasn't just my decision to make. Is it objectively a 10 out of 10? This is pretty fair. And if you want to know the truth, in practice, after I knew everything to do, and once I had kind of save state tested everything, when I went to sit down and RTA clear it, I did it in 15 minutes. So is it a 10 out of 10? Maybe not. Is it worth portraying it as a 10 out of 10 in order to manage expectations for racers and have a good show and keep everybody having fun? Yes, it is. And yeah, that's kind of to break down the philosophy behind that a little bit. Louis Duce making this look like a 2. You Fail Me making more progress. Here we go. So Louis and You Fail Me just kind of trading blows right now. Just one for one. Like, someone makes a little bit of progress, they make a little bit of progress. This should seem fairly self-explanatory, honestly. They're just switching power-ups a lot and getting the ice out of the way with fire, or getting the enemy out of the way with a cape spin. And that's what I mean. I mean, it's a fair and reasonable level. At a certain point as well, at a certain point of difficulty, even fairly expressed difficulty, Halcyon, look out! Oh, we got the upper right, hold up. Yeah, too easy, and Halcyon's looking for that checkpoint. Nicely done. Oh my gosh, what, you fail me? Excuse me, Halcyon's at the checkpoint, and you fail me as a super player here. Eyes on the lower right, we could have it. We could absolutely have it. That's stunning. No, I'm absolutely stunned. GG. GG. That's 41. That was, what, we had a 3-hour broadcast here tonight? That's amazing. GG. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And Louis, oh my word, Louis Duce. Upper, oh my gosh, no way. No, okay, yeah, the tongueless. The tongueless Yoshi fly, just for fun, switching up the flight types and the ground pound. That's amazing. I'm really, really, really impressed. Absolutely amazing. I don't even know what to say. I'm really impressed by that. You have seen some absolutely tremendous gameplay here tonight. That was absolutely unreal. I did. I thought sub 2. I thought it was possible. I was in the scout chat being like, we might see a sub 2 hour clear here. That's a sub hour. That's unreal. Nicely done. Absolutely. Wow. 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 That's very, very impressive. It makes me think, like, I wanted to race. I thought it makes me wonder, you know? It makes me wonder. Cause I say that took about 2 hours with save states, just kind of working through that. But I was playing on emulator. I don't know, man. That's pretty good. I am really impressed. Well played, well played. We're looking for that podium. TJB, Jank Pickle, Nathan MG, and Halcyon. TJB in the first section, Jank Pickle in the first, Nathan MG in the lower left looking to get out of the first section, and Halcyon making quick work of the second section. Well, like I said, I've clearly explained our reasoning behind giving it that, and you know, that's the best we could say. I mean, we're trying here to manage expectations, and you know, it's the kind of thing where, you know, someone will come out and say, oh, it's not a 10 out of 10 level, and then if we make it a 7 out of 10 level, they'd be like, what, this is clearly a 9 out of 10. Like, you can't please everybody, and I think it's best to err on the side of caution and managing players' expectations, you know, rather than attempting to objectively define each and everything that crosses our path. At a certain point of difficulty, even a really talented player would have to deal with things that wouldn't necessarily make progress in a race. I mean, if we want to watch someone grind a really, really tough level, everyone's doing that on stream. At a certain point, there's a race and a narrative, and we are trying to get players through a level. Additionally, this level has a lot of specialized tech that doesn't normally come up, which I think raises just the difficulty factor for that reason. That if the level is made easier by the fact that players know the difficult tech, and if they did not know it, it might be a lot more difficult. I know that sounds redundant. How many different ways can I say the word difficult? But I hope that makes sense. And something else that's not necessarily, you might not even notice, is how often, for example, something small. There was a lot of testing for this, and some things were definitely smoothed out, I think, over the course of making it. GUI did a really solid job with this, and myself and the testers were able to find a couple of things that smoothed out the experience. TJB, yo, watch that upper left. They got the Yoshi fly going for this. Oh my word. Ah. Running, they gotta spin that Magic Koopa Fire out of the way. I had a point though. Testing. Did a lot of testing. Oh yeah, some things were changed. And one thing, well, a couple of things that might not notice. There are some things that I'm seeing that are making this a little bit smoother than it was in its initial iteration. For example, the trick at the beginning, that you see Halcyon working on it on their side, the shell being stacked where it is. The initial conception of that obstacle had the shell stacked in a different position that made it a lot harder. And there was a lot of talk in the tester channel about that obstacle in particular, this first obstacle in the first section. So I'm seeing the racers get through this obstacle really cleanly over and over again. Our first experience testing was that it was positioned in such a way to be really, really, really precise. And that made it soak up a lot more deaths. And so at a certain point of difficulty, Gossip Greg, what's up? Upper right, though. Upper right looking for that checkpoint. I think they got it. Yup. GG. At a certain point of difficulty, what you're seeing is the player dying over and over and over again on the intro. You know, a true 10 out of 10 level would just, the level would start, Mario spawns, and then they die. And then they start and they spawn and they die again. And we're all sitting here watching the 11 out of 10 level doing what exactly? You know what I mean? Like that's, I mean, people do grind streams and they talk to their chats and things. And for a broadcast, for a show that everyone else is tuning into on, at a certain point, a really hard level is detrimental to that experience because nothing happens. You just die and you make a little bit of progress and you die. So, you know, balancing that need for something challenging with the need to manage expectations, with the need to actually produce a type of a show that's going to be entertaining for people is, I think, a good enough cause to overrate a level rather than underrate it and be a little more cautious in that regard. Because like I said, players are much more upset if we rated this level too easy and then it was really tough, players would be really upset. But if we overrated it, players aren't going to be upset. They had an easier time than they thought. You know, they got to win. So, you know, gotta take some heat somewhere. Rather take the heat for overrating it because at least that makes most people happier. You know? You know? And we've got here some fine individuals. TJB, Gossip Greg, Nathan MG, Halcyon. Lest we forget, we are watching exceptionally talented players. Players who had all week to practice their cape tech in anticipation for this level. Players who routinely hang out and play 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, 50 out of 10 difficult stuff. Players who have absolutely eaten harder levels than this for breakfast. So there's that too. But it's not as though we can rate the level based on the skill of the strongest racer. If that were the case, this might be more of a 6 or something, you know? But it's, you know, it's about finding that hypothetical median player. Nathan, look out. So yeah, Gossip Greg here, we're working on the second section. A treat to see them play. And TJB, Nathan MG, Halcyon, also G. Halcyon working on the second. Left side of the screen versus the right side right now. And you know, to that end, thanks for watching, and I hope you all are having a good time. We, you know, try to do this every Saturday. We have a race every Saturday, and it's a lot of fun. I hope that people can have fun racing and have fun watching and learn something and enjoy their time here. And, you know, get to see some progress and some good gameplay. Which is definitely the case right now. Another thing that was changed during testing for this level, you're seeing Halcyon in the lower right get to that obstacle. There's a red buzzy beetle that is there, and there used to be a lava lotus instead of the buzzy beetle. Gossip Greg also about to get to this obstacle. Yeah, there's that red buzzy beetle. Formerly, that was a lava lotus, and because it was a lava lotus, it had the effect of making the obstacle slightly tighter. and if you were slow, you might be able to get the landing, but then you get hit by the lava lotus pollen that it shoots out. And the suggestion was made to switch that to an enemy that didn't create the pollen, and to make it a little more lenient. So the original incarnation of this level, the one, because I said I took about 2 hours over the course of a day or two to kind of figure it all out, parse it out, get some help from other testers, and just know what the heck was going on. And that level in its conception, I'd say, was a little bit harder than this even. Also worth noting that the racers are racing a P-switch timer. Halcyon and Gossip Greg here in the second section. Once they throw that P-switch and activate it, it's active and it's turning the brown blocks, the coins, into brown blocks. So they've got to move quickly in this section, because otherwise the floor will just disappear from out from under them. Jank Pickle, look out, looking good here. Whoa, no, low. Oh, they had it. That was it. Jank Pickle really close to that checkpoint in the lower left. And say, yo, if anybody has any questions or just wants to, just ask about what's going on, you want to learn about Kaiser or whatever, please feel free to ask. That's always cool. And, there's only so much commentary I can give on exactly the same obstacles, and I feel like at a certain point people have heard it. So please feel free to shout it out if you're new or just want to say what's on your mind. Remember to stay hydrated too. This is a big one. Is there a level after this? No. We typically only race one level every race. This is just a particularly tough one, so it's gonna take a bit. Well, I mean, I guess not, depending on who you ask. And I will say too, we've talked about this in staff channels as well. We've had a bunch of tough levels recently, and we've been trying to learn from player feedback about that and manage expectations. At the same time, it's important to cheer on Jank Pickle as they try to get in the pipe in the lower left. Jank Pickle one flight away from victory. Oh my gosh, they got it. Yo, I have seen 0 checkpoint nighs, and that is very encouraging. But we've learned from player feedback, and we've tried to manage expectations. At the same time, we recognize that we've had a lot of tough levels lately. And so in the coming weeks, I think we're going to try to have a little bit more easily accessible stuff. This is really cool to see, and it's awesome to see the sheer skill. Also, really fun to have the, 4 out of 10 to 6 out of 10 levels allow more people to participate and give someone an entry, a point of entry. That was always something that was really important for us in ROM hack races. TJB, I believe. Do you believe? I believe. TJB, you can do it. Wait, I'm sorry. I must have missed it. Did Halcyon actually get in the pipe with that? I must have missed that. I'm trying to watch 4 streams at once. I didn't notice that Halcyon actually got in the pipe. I just thought they were trying to. I didn't know they managed to enter it that way. Halcyon got in with intended strats. Oh, okay. I thought what North was saying was that they got into the pipe by using the cheese. The first time we saw the pipe was you fail me doing the intended strat. Sure, yeah, you're right, I'm not. Yeah, they got into the pipe. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. That's correct. I was mistaken. Yeah, Halcyon managed to cheese into the ceiling, then got out of the ceiling and got into the pipe, but without flight or their other power-up, they were unable to get the checkpoint. I guess what I meant was that we haven't seen anyone get into the checkpoint with flight and then mess it up right at the end. No one dropped the ball when they were on a good run. That's more to my point. Nice turnout, I'd say. Got some brave players coming out for this. I mean, talking about difficulty too, at a certain point, how hard do y'all want it to be? You know what I mean? I mean, we're a volunteer team. We schedule 2 hours a week on Saturdays for the broadcast. You can tune in every Saturday for another race, and that's several people, taking time out of their night to do the broadcast, several racers committing 2, maybe 3 hours of their time to clear a level potentially. At a certain point, and we're doing this on the turnaround of every week. Every week we're sitting down to, tonight we're going to cycle the next maker in and get the next level ready to go for the next week. And so with that kind of person power, and that kind of turnaround time, it takes us some time in testing. The harder the level is, the more thoroughly it does need to be vetted and tested to make sure that it's just not going to be a frustrating experience. I mean, literally everything we do is geared towards creating a good experience for people. And, trying to have the act of sight reading a level sight unseen be fun and not frustrating. And, at a certain point, how tough should it be? I mean, if we want a 10 out of 10, if we want flips on the checkpoint in the upper left, nicely done flips. If we want a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, how difficult should it be? You know what I mean? I mean, do we want a Various Dragons, a Hacker's Dream? Yeah, at a certain point, we can certainly find some levels and come up with some things that would absolutely crush people for 3 to 5 hours. It could be done if we just decide to take the gloves off. It's always been my suspicion that wouldn't be as entertaining as a race where we are watching a group of players work on a level. For a stream, it would be different because the streamer is talking to their chat, things are happening, they can control the show and be entertaining. But at a certain point of difficulty. So now we're playing the final Hacker's Dream level, and no one wins. How do the competitive weightlifters just constantly need more weight until we're just at the absolute peak limit of maybe one person could possibly lift it? It's hard. It's tough to find that line, and that's just what I'm trying to talk about. I guess my point is that the goal of completely satisfying everyone's expectations is an impossible ask. And so we do the best we can with what we've got. Is this the format going forward? No. This is just specifically for tonight because we anticipated, perhaps incorrectly, that the racers might need a little bit more time and a little bit more help, but apparently not. But then the last time we had one, it was Mark Alarm's level, and we got some feedback about that it was really tough and it took a long time to get the clear. So we thought, okay, well, we messed up, we undersold it and didn't manage expectations properly. So this is an attempt to correct that. But if anyone's interested and you'd like to try the level for yourselves, romhackraces.com, the official website. Download the patch, give it a try. See how many 10s out of 10 you think it is. So we have about 10, I want to say. We have about 10 different testers of different skill levels because it's important to have a diverse range of testers. That really matters. And I don't know, I think it's easy. We're doing what we can, and that's kind of like all I can say about it. We're doing what we can, and these races are put on by the people who showed up to help out and make that a possible thing. They were tested by the people who volunteered to give some hours of their week to testing, restreamed and hosted and raced by people who are choosing to give that time. It's a volunteer situation, and we want to be accessible for folks. So we're doing what we can, and trying ultimately to put on something fun. And for what it's worth, I mean, these are lessons learned from a lot of time spent in the space of creating and making levels and races like this. All the way back to some of us working with the old Mario Maker 1 Friday and Saturday races. These are lessons learned about what players are into and what they want to do, what they're willing to put the time into. But, it is the left side. We got 1 hour in, half a checkpoint. It's pretty good. Flips and Jank Pickle, second section. Make that Gossip Greg as well, and Halcyon. So everybody right now, working hard. We have extra folks since there are, normally the way we do this, if you're tuning in, if you're new, there are 15, maybe sometimes 20 or more signups, and everybody is streaming that. And so we have scouts who are watching all the streams, volunteering their time to keep an eye on everybody, and they let us know if someone is making progress, someone is close to getting a checkpoint or whatever. Then we put them up on the restream. The reason we do that is because if we showed all the racers at once, you wouldn't be able to see anything. You can't really watch 16 different streams at the same time, and that creates an immense amount of lag on people's internet and just ability to do that in the first place. So this system has worked out pretty well for us, and in the time that we've been doing this, haven't really missed many clears. The scouts are on point and do a really stellar job with it. So rest assured that if TJB or anybody else is getting close to making progress, they will suddenly show up on the stream so we can check it out. And you know what? In the past, I've seen streams that try to have like 10 to 15 racers on screen at once, and it's just a silly mess. It's like you can't really watch the action at any point. Even if you want to focus in on one racer, you're looking at a teeny tiny little TV for ants, you know? Yeah, ROM Hack Race 99. It's like trying to watch all the other games in Mario 99, you know, just like hard to do. So this is the system and the rating system and the operational system that we have involved. We have spent a lot of time to evolve and work on. Halcyon, what? They were getting pretty close. And that is, yep, Yoshi Flight. An expert skill if you don't know how to do it. But if you've learned it, it's pretty chill. Halcyon here in the lower right, going for it. They're flying, they grew up Yoshi, and now they are flying while riding adult Yoshi. Getting that tongue extension and the left input at the right time to clear this gap. They've got the ground pound, and looks like... Wait, what? Halcyon, watch out. And they're in there. GG. GG, Halcyon, well played. 107, let's go. And that's that Yoshi Flight, right? If that looks easy, and Halcyon's making it look very easy here. That being said, it's a really difficult trick. That's not easy if you don't know how to do it. And is that? Yeah. That would be podium, and that's a strong third. I'm impressed personally. This is a lesson learned. We got podium in an hour. That's impressive on a 10 out of 10, at least for execution. Keep in mind too, this is another thing. I'm talking about 10 out of 10 and why and how this level works like that. This is a 10 for execution. It did not get a 10 in all categories. It would be possible to make a level that is both 10 for execution and 10 for braininess, which would involve, maybe I'm just spitballing, more glitch abuse puzzles with very precise situations. You want some quantum jumps? I could make you a whole quantum jump ROM Hack Race level if you're interested. You know, and pull really esoteric tech that doesn't teach the player and obscures itself. And we might see that looking more like what we might expect a 10 out of 10 to look like, right? You know, we say like, oh, how's this a 10 out of 10? They're blasting through it. It's not a 10 everywhere. You know what I mean? TJ, no. TJ, F. So, you know, say we had a level that was similarly difficult to execute, but also required really esoteric magical knowledge of Mario and how to do Yoshi item swap glitches and quantum things, and it was a whole puzzle and junk, then you might see people getting really bodied, you know what I mean? Would an all quantum level be 11 out of 10? Tough to say. Tough to say. It would depend on how that were executed. That's a good point too, Doc. If we still used length to factor into the overall score, it would have been a 9. So you could almost think of this like a 9.5, maybe a 9-ish. But, you know, again, it begs the question, where does it go? Okay, so if this is a 10, as TJB tries again for this pipe, you know, if this is a 10, then I suppose we could race an 11 or a 12. At some point we max out. At some point we have made a rock so heavy that it's just a pain to lift. Ought we to find that point? Ought we to exclusively like seek out that point? You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think so. Especially since the goal of ROM Hack Races always was in the beginning, we would like it to be accessible for people. That there should be some kind of outlet for people to go from, I'm interested in this Kaizo thing and I don't know what I'm doing, to Now I get it, and I have some experience under my belt to get them over that first push. And constantly racing really tough levels gatekeeps lesser experienced players in a meaningful way that isn't necessarily in line with what we were trying. However, as a celebration of the makers, their skill and what they do, we also don't, and I personally don't want to restrict makers so much. I don't want to turn around and say, don't do that, don't make this. You have to make something easy. You know, I gotta let GUI be GUI. We gotta let fire be fire. We gotta let everybody be who they are. We gotta let Gossip Greg in the upper right get that flight, Yoshi flight. Look at this clean Yoshi flight. They are keeping that vertical height so well. Gossip Greg, big ground pound with that. Yo, you failed me. Thank you for the raid. That was unreal. That was some of the best ROM Hack Race performance I have seen in all my live long days. I'm very impressed. Well played. Well played. You feel me? Gossip Greg for the win. Nice. Yo, thanks Gossip Greg for coming out and racing. I don't know, maybe I miss it, but I don't get to see them play that often, and they are very talented. Can I ask this? Did you have fun? Was it a fun level? Did you enjoy yourselves? That feedback is also important, you know? Let us not forget that we're here to have some fun, you know? Oh, TJB. Oh, speaking of fun. Oh, jeez. Germ Dove looking for that Yoshi flight. Yo, look out, Germ Dove. Oh, too slow. They were a little bit too far to the left. Okay, another question then. We're all having fun, and I love to see the turnout. And this is really just, I am curious because feedback from the audience we are attempting to entertain is good for what ails you. Do you like the mixture of difficult levels and easier level? Last week's race was over in like 3 minutes, and most of the racers cleared up in about an hour. Do you like that mixture? Personally, I do. I would say if the question for me, yes, I would say yes, absolutely. As an audience, I mean, in particular, you get some variety, you get to see something new every week, and it's accessible for the people that are interested in trying it out. Right, because the other option, is okay, well, we're going to focus more on tougher levels, and we're going to have these tougher races every now and then, but I think the diversity is a strength, personally. And, that's just me. Love it, rad. We'll drop a follow and come back and see us every Saturday night, because we're going to have another race for you every Saturday night. TJB absolutely committed here to this Yoshi flight. I think that TJB actually gets what the intended strategy is, and I think that TJB is just messing around. I think they're just going for this because they want to, and that's really something we've seen tonight, is racers doing it their way. We saw Halcyon going for that cheese, TJB going for that Yoshi flight. We saw we saw kind of Louis Douce doing the tongueless and not tongueless Yoshi flight for the win at the end. And we saw some racers watch the clear video, some racers didn't watch the video. I like that. And I think that that's a really cool thing to celebrate, that individualism in Kaizo. It's an individualistic kind of endeavor, the making and playing of Kaizo. And I like that can be celebrated rather than pushed into a box. Oh my gosh! What? No, TJB, what? No, no way. Cosmic Brain, I can't even. That was so cool. That was so cool. That was the most galaxy brain thing. I'm gonna be real with you right now. I never caught that in testing. Not ever, not one time. We got Roke Games, we got TJB, Jank Pickle, and Flips Bad in the upper left, going for that win with the tongueless Yoshi flight. Look at this, clean. Flips Bad, one of the best Cape players on the scene right now. One of the most phenomenal Cape players of the modern age. Clearer of freaking 1F9, TJ, or Flips Bad, excuse me, Flips Bad, aka Flips Amazing. Good tongueless Yoshi flight at the end, but that was some really intense strategizing from TJB back there. Not to sell Flips short, they cleared the level. TJB got the checkpoint, but to explain what happened there, the brown eating block is a sprite, and it will just kind of keep going and keep eating things if it runs into more object tiles. So, intentionally or not, if they noticed that and capitalized on it, amazing. If they thought to do that and went for it and got it, also amazing. Either way, they noticed that the brown eating block was being ejected and was just going to fly across the screen. That's what they do. If there's nothing else for them to eat, they can just fly across the screen. They're just free floating like Bender when he got lost in space. So TJB just used that to jump up into the pipe and was able to cheese the need for having flight on the other side because they just had Yoshi instead. They could just bail off Yoshi instead of needing to fly over to the ice block. So yeah, amazing. That was absolutely absurd. Just as I'm talking about the individualistic style and how different players bring their different insights and skills to the table, we get to see that on display tonight here. Nathan looking for that checkpoint, TJB, Jank Pickle, and Roke working hard on the second section. Flips, that was amazing. Well played. Absolutely well played. Solid tongueless flight too. I like that. When I was doing RTA testing for it, I got one run at the end and I did tongue, and I got one run I did tongueless just to test them. Very good. You know, tongueless Yoshi flight seems like so difficult and impossible, but let this be a lesson. Tongueless is good. Yes, take it from Flips. Tongueless is good. It's good and it's fun and it feels good to do, and you can get very consistent with it to the point where it's just kind of not an issue. And you can just, unless you're doing it in a really tricky circumstance or you have to do all this other stuff, but just a nice, clean, straightforward tongueless Yoshi flight like that, Flips could fly all the way to the moon like that. You can just keep going, and it's possible to be that good. And, if nothing else, let this level show you that what was once impossible is mundane now. And it's difficult for makers even to keep up with the skill of good players. As someone who's made a lot of tough levels, let me tell you, it takes a while. You have to test them and de-cheese them, and your hands get hurt. And Nathan MG tries for the pipe again, and good try. And you really have to go for it. And then you turn it over to a player like Flips or TJB or Louie, or you fail me, and all of a sudden they're done in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, I spent like 3 or 4 hours collectively just kind of testing this level, going through it, making sure 30 minutes, we're done, we're out, It's difficult for makers to keep up with the skill of some players who just eat anything for breakfast. Because this level has incorporated more than a few tricks that used to be considered impossible, or just like no one would do that. Yoshi flight itself, let alone tongueless Yoshi flight. The sticky fly used to be TAS only. So much of this wasn't possible, 5 to 6 to 7 years ago. So that's how far the skill stealing has come in that time. The shell stuff at the start, yeah. One suggestion that I had made as a tester was to move the left wall a little bit closer. Originally, that was a sort of a harder incarnation of that shell obstacle, where you have to move more to the left to rebound on the green shell, and then move way more to the right. And that extra movement time increased the precision. So that actually was one of my suggestions, to just move the wall a little bit. Are there setups that can force tongueless, or is it just for swag? Absolutely, it can be forced. All you have to do is require something to be in Yoshi's mouth. Yep. Let's say there's a P-switch or a key, and they have to take it all the way to the end of the gap or whatever. Now they can't use Yoshi's tongue because they'd spit the object out. So, yeah, now you forced Yoshi tongueless. Another way, you know, honestly, it got me thinking, another way you could kind of force tongueless would be to have Mario do item carry while riding Yoshi. It's a little bit of a pedantic difference, but I think in that case, if Mario is holding like a key while riding Yoshi, sticking Yoshi's tongue out would also eat the object, and then you can't do whatever with it. So it might even be conceivable that you could force it like that. I'm really glad to hear that. Thanks everybody for having fun. Thanks for sharing that, and it's nice to hear. You know, people put a lot of time into ROM hack races, you know, behind the scenes, and I hope I speak for everybody when I say that it's very gratifying to do, and it's lovely to see people beating the levels and trying their best and getting excited about this kind of thing, and getting excited to see what the new level is going to be every week, and having fun and getting clutch moments and good clears. That's really gratifying, and I never question whether or not I want to do that work. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm getting something good for myself, which is getting to see everybody have fun with it. In the first section, you managed to get under the level and out of bounds. Interesting. I also didn't catch that. This level is also showing exactly what was not caught. I didn't catch the ceiling cheese. I didn't catch the Yoshi cheese. I didn't catch the brown block. I didn't catch anything. So, good job, Racers, showing us how it's done here. Yo, say hey to Shovda. How's it going in the upper left? Shovda's been ripping through Precision 86. TJB, Jank Pickle, and Roke as well. Working hard. Oh, Shovda's almost there for that checkpoint. Jank Pickle, oh man, yeah, swapping. You can just kind of swap over and over again. This could be it. Jank Pickle in the lower left. Jank Pickle. Yo, they've got that Yoshi. Now, do they know the Yoshi flight? Oh no. Ah! Nice try though, man. And that's difficult with Yoshi flight. So we've seen the racers make this look kind of easy. I think that's the first time someone's gone down at that part. No shame, of course, just it is a lot harder than the racers have made it look thus far. Because, like I said, you want to extend Yoshi's tongue, and then only when Yoshi's tongue is fully extended, then and only then, you press left, or backwards, which in this case is left. And getting that timing correct, not easy. It's the timing of when you press X or Y to extend the tongue, and then there's an artificial delay, and then you press backwards. And if you're even slightly misaligned with that, you're either not going to get the pump and go back up in the air, or you're going to do it in kind of a weak way, and you don't get enough height. And if you miss the frame window over and over again consistently, or a few times in the row, you're going to see that happen. They drop and they lose the height. because they're still kind of flying, but they're not pumping accurately. Tough. It's tough to do. Don't be fooled. That is kind of an oof there. Shovda's got it. I mean, she's here. She's at the checkpoint. She's at the KFC. She's at the combination checkpoint and KFC. Fun stuff tonight. Fun stuff. Shavda? No! She had to spin. She had all you gotta do, you gotta land that ground pound and then spin that Magic Koopa magic out. So here's a fun fact, actually. And it's interesting. It's funny to me. That Magic Koopa magic that Shavda just collided with was put in order to prevent the cheese of being able to take Yoshi through the pipe. It was an attempt at preventing that. And it's funny how TJB found a way to do that anyway. Like, they didn't use that. I mean, the Magic Koopa magic worked. It prevented that method. Turns out there was another method, which I think is interesting. That's the danger. You know, we've seen some big cheese potential here. And frankly, I think that's a little bit of the danger of trying to make a difficult and complex level. Because naturally, that means that you're going to have a lot of stuff. Just elements. And it's not a rule, but it tends to be true that just the more elements you have in your level, the more stuff there is to break. You know, if you don't want them to get out of the ceiling, never put a slope. If you don't want them to cheese anything, never give them a cape. Standard hacks learned this lesson a long time ago. You know, and we see the most cheese-proof standard hacks in the world now. Having options is dangerous. You are giving your player, I refer to it as power. There are power-ups. There are powers that you have, Tenoki suit, frog suit, hammer suit, and so forth. But when I say that the player has power, what I mean is they have inherent power over the design. The ability to jump over something is power. And if you don't regulate that power, they can cheese. That's why we have high walls and nice try Shavda and all these things. Yoshi in Yoshi's Island, Mario World 2, is an inherently powerful character. You can shoot eggs, you can eat enemies and make them into eggs, you can flutter infinitely if you're really talented, if you're a speedrunner, if you're Calco or Carl. You have so much inherent power over the design. In a similar way, standard hacks learned a long time ago that Yoshi, if you give the player a Yoshi, they now have a ton of power. They can double jump, they can create iframes by losing Yoshi. They can use item swapping. They can use Yoshi Fly. They can hold things in Yoshi's mouth. They just have all this power that they didn't have before. And so, as a designer, you're looking at a balance between giving them... When we're talking about strict linear Kaizo design like this, you as a designer are looking at the balance between giving the player an amount of power and telling them how to use it. They can only use their power in the way that you've given it to them. But the more they have, the more unintended consequences might creep in. Cape is difficult to de-cheese because you can dive and fly and turn around and slow down and all these different factors that are mutually exclusive when you're trying to prevent physical movements. Yes, actually, that is true. ROM Hack Races has done a few Yoshi's Island levels in the past. Carl Sagan has made some for us. If I recall correctly, it should come as no surprise to anyone that Calco is undefeated. It's absolutely, unquestionably undefeated at the Yoshi's Island races. We had a few, Calco won them. This is like, I'm not sure what we expected. But so that, you know, that regulation of the player's power is it's a blessing and a curse. No, man, jeez. Aw, ma'am. Shavda, so close. Getting denied. She knows what to do. She's right there. It's just positioning landed a little wrong. One thing that you can do, and I think this is helpful. Maybe I'm sure many of you already know this, but for those that are learning, one thing that's really helpful, you know, Mario World, Kaizo Mario, Standard Mario, Mario World itself, if you're playing it skillfully, Mario World is an economy of momentum. You are gaining and losing and spending and saving momentum. And there's an economy there. And you in general want to have more. You know, it's sort of the, I don't want to say the late stage capitalism of game philosophy, but you generally want to have some savings. You know what I mean? You don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck, as so many unfortunately have to. Big props to those trying to get by in this life. It's not easy. But when it comes to momentum and the economy of momentum, you don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck. You want to have a little bit of extra. And so, the way to get that in a lot of cases is to be very conscientious about how much of the available ground you're using. And that means noticing where you're landing. For example, Shavda here, working on this final obstacle. Here she goes, could be it for the win. Going up and ground pounding. And that was good. Yes, good job. Well illustrated, Shavda. And that was perfectly well illustrated as Shavda glides over here to the pipe. So what she did there was exactly what I was going to suggest you do. Make the most of the available ground. You want to have extra momentum. You get that by running along the ground. So be conscientious about where you're landing, and notice when you're landing so far to the left or the right that you have 2 or 3 more blocks to work with. Try to make those tight landings and give yourself that extra movement space all the time, because it will help you generate extra momentum. It is so much easier to dial it back if you have more momentum than you need to sort of turn around and left, right, and land on something than it is to not have enough. If you don't have enough, you're never going to get there. If you do have enough, you just do a little trick and make it, you know? So, well illustrated. Does that make sense? I feel like that makes sense, but maybe I did not make sense. I'm concerned I wasn't making sense there. Nathan, trying to make sense in that pipe. Gosh. There is, though, and I think that's an important point. I think that's a good way to think about it. There is an economy of momentum in Mario World. You are spending and saving and earning and accumulating and gaining and losing momentum all the time. It's a stock market of momentum, and sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, but you always want to be where you want to be. The goal isn't to have some, or the goal is to have exactly the amount you want. And it's easier to subtract from a large amount than add to a small amount. Oh, look out, Nathan. Upper left-hand corner. Jeez Louise. See, that was the, and to illustrate, they landed, not like, oh, they're doing a bad job, but what happened there was they landed far to the middle of the platform, where they want to aim more for the far right side so they can accumulate that momentum quicker. Instead, they choked up and they landed, well, they didn't choke, they just, they just landed in the middle of that, and that robbed them of 3 or 4 blocks worth of movement space. You absolutely can think of Mario World in terms of just grid squares. The how many blocks of space do I have, and how much momentum will this amount of space generate for me? Does that make sense? I think so. I think that makes sense. I feel I am making sense. But maybe to me. Turns out they unplugged my mic 5 minutes ago. I'm just talking into the room. There it is, Nathan MG. I think that was P-Speed. They got it. Very well done. And Nathan's in the pipe. It was a little tough to tell. They activated their P-Speed just as they were getting to the end. And that's a good example of how having those extra blocks of movement space on that attempt, they landed farther to the right of that platform. That extra movement space was what made the difference for them there. And that was the only thing they were screwing up before, which is like another example of something I mean. You're all better than you think you are. And I've seen players be like, oh, I didn't do so well or whatever. No, you did. You actually did very well. You're all better than you think you are, because in general, I'd say 70% of the time, really, 60 maybe, the mistakes that people are making are not large mistakes. They're simply small mistakes that they haven't noticed. Getting good is just as much a matter of noticing the right things and paying attention to the right things in your gameplay than it is actually grinding a tough level and getting some skill. You can level yourself up substantially with just more knowledge and a correctly tuned sense of observation. Absolutely, that's a very good point. Yeah, Ghost of Greg, and you would know, you get that especially with precision levels. If you've messed around with New Pointless's work in precision, or levels for Transliberation, players of precision levels would be more familiar with the idea that there is an economy of momentum, that you are given one block and you know exactly how much momentum is the most you could generate in that space. But yeah, you can assume in a hard level like this that every bit of free space you're given by the creator is intentional, that you have 5 blocks to run here and not 4 because you need 5. So yeah, making the most of those spaces is always really important. And that's a little conscientiousness check that you can do. And you see really strong players executing the tricks well, but if you watch a really strong player, you're also going to notice that they do simple movements the same way. They're always landing on the left. Jank Pickle always trying for that Yoshi fly. Let's go, trying to save it. Jank Pickle, there's a good try. What's up with ROM hack race levels where you have to bounce on a bonsai bill after it falls off the bottom of the screen? Well, the trick was first debuted and invented on a ROM hack race level, so it's so we like to keep it in every now and then. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice. Jank Pickle, look at this consistency. Yeah, let's go, Jank Pickle. Oh, come on. Now that is tough. And like I said, the timing of when you extend the tongue, press the X button, and then wait, and then when the tongue is extended, press left again. But don't press left for too long. Don't hold it for too long, or else you'll turn around. So there's like 3 things that are going correctly every time they pump once in a Yoshi flight. So they have to do something with 3 points of failure several times in a row. And every instance they do it, every one contains 3 separate points of failure. Does that make sense? And that's an example of how difficulty can be layered in Kaizo obstacles. That it's one Yoshi pump is complex, and then you do a bunch of those complex things in a row, further increasing the complexity. Jank, Pickle, back again though. This is what you want in a situation like this. Consistency. Look at this. They are getting back here every time. Big Yoshi flight, big dive bomb, and it looks like Jank Pickle is going to be taking the win here. Watch out though, buddy. I'd hate to see something tragic here all the way at the end. Yeah, they're being careful. Yep, being careful. Nicely done. Jank Pickle with those big Yoshi jumps. Getting out of here alive. Well played, well played. I like that red and blue 3D glasses face guy. It's got a good vibe. I like that. It's good emote, good image, good vibe. It is germed of TJB, Nathan MG, and Roke Games. Every one and all working on the second checkpoint. Good job, Jank Pickle. Well played. We've got more than the podium in under 2 hours, and that is informative. That is informative here. Do you think? And this is feedback again, and I am curious because I'd like to hear from folks, especially folks who tried the level and did race. Do you think this was overrated? This is helpful feedback for us to just know what people are thinking. Do you think that this level was overrated? Or do you think it was underrated? I guess the question is, did we successfully manage expectations here? Did we successfully manage expectations and you got what you thought you were going to get going into it? I'd be interested to hear that. To poll runners after the race about how they would have rated it. If folks want to share that, you can jump on the Discord. We have a race-related chat section. And if you have thoughts or whatever, feel free to drop them. This is for the people who want to come out and race and have some fun. So it's if that's not hitting that mark, then it's all good. Well, we can't necessarily judge ratings based on the toughest hack that has ever been cleared by a human. If we say that, the hacker's dream is a 10 out of 10 and that is what's represented by a 10 out of 10, that's going to skew the ratings. That's going to cause this to be rated at something like a 4 when it clearly isn't. You know what I mean? Like, we can't. If we judged everything by the tallest mountain in the world, then everything else is really small. You know what I mean? And as far as we talked a little bit about this with the start for this race. Tags for hard tricks, at a certain point, we might as well just tell people what to practice. And I guess that's all well and good. I'm not inherently opposed to that idea. But it does seem to defeat the purpose a little bit, degrade the purpose perhaps of sight reading. That at some level we'd like to have this is fresh sight reading. Yeah, we have mentioned Cape. We have mentioned that for this one in particular, but if we say, hey, you really should learn Yoshi flight, at what point, and I don't know the answer to this. I'm not making a case for anything in particular. It's a philosophical question we grapple with here. At what point are we no longer doing a sight read race? And that's fine if we're not, but I think that's always been a strength of ROM hack races. I think that's our particular thing, like this is a Wendy's, and we have Wendy's things here. So there's that, to mark things. Hey, this is going to be a water level. Hey, this is going to be a cape level. Hey, it's going to be a this or that. I don't think there's really been much of a need for that, historically speaking. I mean, the Markle Arms level that we had recently was the first level in recent memory that we did not get a clear in 2 hours. I can't think of any other level that had that. And, it's a one-off. And so to start this whole notion, this is my opinion, and this is something that can be talked about, but I'm just giving you my opinion. To start this whole notion of tons of tags and letting people know kind of exactly what they should learn ahead of time. It feels, I don't know. I lost the point. There was a point I had to make. It just feels like it takes away from the purpose a little bit, and it also feels like something that wasn't really needed in the first place. People have done fine without this thus far, without having to need to know, hey, there's a Yoshi flight in this level, or hey, the Yoshi flight is in particular because it's such a hard thing to do. There are people who just do not, had to relearn Yoshi flight for testing, or who didn't know it going into this. I would feel the same way, if there were a midair, but should there be a midair? I don't. It's tough to say. The very individualistic nature of ROM hacking makes it so that we really end up figuring things out week by week on a case by case basis. We figured out how to do this level in a way that we thought would work. The extra time, the clear video. We thought, okay, let's make sure we do this well and people can have a good experience with it. Next week, we're going to be playing it kind of by ear to figure out how to make this level work. Maybe it will need less or more or whatever. And that's, I think, part of supporting the makers in what they're doing, to not just turn to the maker and say, make it this way, take this out, do this, blah, blah, blah. But working with them and trying to just make it race friendly. Yeah. So, there are some racers for whom we didn't need this. The winning runs tonight did not look at the clear video. You fail me, you, Louis, both did not look at the clear video and did not need to be told that there was cape tech. They would have done this anyway. And I'm not trying to shade other players who did need it. That's not the point. My point is that my point is to demonstrate that it's not as necessary as we might think to give tech tags all the time. It wasn't at the podium level. It wasn't necessary tonight, and I think that's informative to say the least. Or there are certain racers we wouldn't need to warn them about advanced shell tricks or advanced cape tricks or advanced tech or puzzle tricks or whatever. They already know that. And it might take them a minute to recognize, aha, this is Yoshi Flight or whatever. But once they know, that's it. And it's like things become relative at a certain level. A beginning player might not know about disco surfing, and then they know about it, and then it's automatic, and then they think, aha, yes, the disco surf, I know this already. First you don't know something, then you work it into the set of archetypes you do know, and at a high degree of skill, players just know a lot of stuff already. This is, I feel like what I'm saying, but just to illustrate the point. Yeah, to add to, we have a few testers who have to represent the whole community and be representative of players at different skill levels, different techniques, and different abilities. That is, I think, more helpful than just having someone very strong. And I'm not trying to brag, but if it were up to me to rate all the levels, I would not do a great job with that. If you all had to just trust what I said, I would, honestly, personally, after really working with this level and when I finally sat down to clear it, I don't know if I would personally consider this a 10 out of 10 execution. For, maybe you fail me or someone like Louis or myself, it might be more of a 6 or a 5, depending on how familiar. If you're really good at Yoshi Flight, then the difficulty of that obstacle is utterly trivialized, and you're not doing a 10 out of 10 obstacle. If you're the Incredible Hulk, it is not a problem to lift a car. You just can, and no one is like, oh boy, this is really tough. No one that's the Incredible Hulk is like, oh, I'm really tired from lifting that car. You just did it. You didn't even think about it. You lift it like a coffee cup. Subjectivity. So having different testers is a strength. It can't just be one talented player being like, oh yeah, that's definitely a 5. They would be underrated consistently. Exactly, B2. And that's the operative phrase there, I think. This could have been a 6 or a 10 depending on what you know. And it's difficult to create something that is difficult without having that duality. Why was this level difficult? Especially, well, because it features advanced tricks. But if you know the advanced tricks, then it's all right. And if we were to take those advanced tricks and make really ridiculous versions of them, now everyone's getting bodied. Which is, okay in some conception, but it's tough to come up with something that's going to be challenging for everybody because the physical actions that you're doing are themselves inherently challenging. Does that make sense? A lot of things get increased difficulty ratings simply by having a tough trick. The presence of one drop of red food coloring will kind of turn everything pink. It's just like that. Is the level really a red level 10 out of 10? No, it was a white t-shirt, but it got stained with a little bit of Yoshi Flight and now it's pink. And that's a very noticeable difference from white and red. Does that make sense? I'm sorry I'm getting really abstracted with this tonight, but there's a lot of philosophy, a lot of Kaizo philosophy that goes into this sort of thing, and I've been listening to a lot of heady dissertations of literature today, so I'm very much in this zone.
You're making sense, don't worry.
Hi, Doc.
Hey, Glitch. I figured this would be a good time for me to hop in and say my own personal take on this. I'm doing great. First of all, how about the music? We recognize that grinds, everyone handles them just a little bit differently, and I know one of the ways that some people handle it is music, setting a musical tone for themselves, and we wanted to give racers a chance to do that while also making sure that we could have a pretty consistent audio level. So Thank you, Game Chops, and thank you, Cocadelic, for the recommendation for tonight's chill playlist. But to the point we're talking about here, TJB.
The tongueless and the untongueless. You know, if you know both types, you can recover from rough situations.
Oh yeah, you're set. Sub 2 hour clear for TJB, 607th of his name. GG, TJB.
Worth noting that TJB is an especially accomplished cape player, and a lot of what they were doing there is pretty second nature for them. They put out mod cape, which is probably one of the toughest single level cape hacks that you could find.
Also, if you hadn't seen the clip, go and find the clip from earlier. I think I still have it saved. I'm posting it. No, it's the leaderboard. There's a clip of what TJB did to end the first half that might be the coolest ROM Hack Races cheese of all time. The Yoshi flight through the pipe.
Yeah, I was gonna say ain't seen a cheese as cool as that since Louis Douce got a win with a rope glitch all the way back when.
So I think one of the things that we want to take into consideration is we really do want people to have fun. And one of the things that we learned in this recent span of difficulty is that in the wrong context, sometimes a hard level can just not be fun. And we don't want to do that. And if we get that feedback from people, we want to course correct. We want to change because we're not so stubborn that we're going to force y'all to bend to our desires on philosophy and stuff. We value your feedback. So we wanted to set up a race like this that was more accessible from a fun perspective. So giving people a heads up a week out that something dangerous was coming. Giving them a heads up a day before just how big a deal we're talking. And also the clear video. Like, these are things that we would normally not do, but because we want people to both play this level and have fun doing it, we decided to change our approach a little bit. And I don't think we've said this enough tonight, and I hope they're still here. Gooey, traitor, however you want to call it, take a freaking bow.
Yeah.
Because when we got this, I think Fane was the first to get through it all the way. And I think immediately we knew two things. One, this level was going to be an absolute monster. And two, we didn't want to touch it. So
yeah, there was actually very little, aside from a couple of things I've mentioned, there was not a lot changed drastically in playtesting.
It's a testament to Gui's effectiveness and talent as a creator that we wanted to tell you all and make it so that you could have fun with this level without sacrificing what was made. Because we reached a point where it was like, if we change this level anymore, we're taking away from what the maker wanted it to be.
Yeah. And I say thanks to Gooey too on this one, because we had talked the intro to the second section. You're seeing everybody on the second section right now. That intro where they're nudging the shell and throwing the P-switch. I mentioned before that the earlier conception of that Gooey had, the shell was situated down to the right a little bit, and it made that obstacle way more difficult because it was difficult to get the shell underneath your feet and do everything else because of that positioning. So that was one that I actually suggested, and I appreciate the compromise on that. That was the literally the one and only thing that was like, I felt like this is a little bit too tough. And the reason I was adamant about that one in particular was because it was the intro trick, specifically the intro trick, because I've thought that what would happen would be players are just going to die on that intro over and over again. And what we're going to end up watching as an audience is just people falling in the pit again and again and again and again and again. And like you said, like sometimes a level of difficulty can ruin the fun either for players or in this case for an audience, which we are trying to build a little bit for.
At some level, and Glitch, I don't know how you feel about this, but we've been doing this I mean, you've been here since week 1. I've been here since... That's the first I've seen a baby Yoshi taken that far by Nathan, so good job by Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan, they actually hit the Piranha Plant with a fireball, and I think they did that on purpose because they thought they needed to, which is actually just like an amazingly talented way to die.
But, Glitch, you've been here since the literal very beginning. I joined about 20, 30 weeks in, I guess, I feel like. At its core, the difference between an 8, a 9, and a 10 is really stupid to argue about.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, we're talking the most intricate philosophical discussions of Kaizo, which, while we love to have, clearly, they're not like life or, I don't want to say life or death, but they're not exactly causing anyone, they're not keeping anyone up at night. The difference between a 4 and a 7, yeah, probably more important to worry about. But the difference between an 8, a 9, and a 10, ultimately, they're all going to be really freaking hard in their own way.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, because that touches on something that, and maybe you feel this way. I've always said this about high score, and maybe you feel this way about pinball. Nice try, Nathan. Mm-hmm. As I've always said, you can generally safely double your PB. If you got 1 million points, that probably means you're skilled enough to get 2 million. You just messed up a little bit. And my point with that is a player who struggles on a 10 is probably also going to struggle on an 8. And a player who can rip through an 8 is probably capable of doing really well with a 10.
Yeah, I think so, too.
To your point about the lack of distinction.
And so...
Or although a player who would struggle on a 7 might not struggle on a 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, Nathan.
I know. Oh, they got it. No.
They had to get the key. They couldn't have.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good. They couldn't have gotten the key out.
Yeah, they needed Yoshi for the key.
But I think one of the things that we're talking about on our end, and this comes from the span of races we had with, starting with Mark's level, which was an awesome level that I think it's safe to say in hindsight probably was underrated.
I think that's the case.
We also had Alex and Squirrely Man's level, which also probably was a little underrated. And then we have this level, like 3 absolute top tier difficulty levels in our history. I think one of the things I've learned in kind of just as like a planner and administrator is it really does take a village, but hard levels and easy levels and even medium levels, there's a different experience in racing all of them, no matter your skill level. Like we talked earlier about how we like the 5 to 10 minute sprints. I mean, scouts hate them, but everyone else loves them. And I think the thing about those is that they're different. It's just a totally different type of level experience. And this type of experience is a very, I don't want to say meticulous, but it's such a different like vibe that to try and shoehorn everything into the same approach is very bad. As Nathan gets in there,
nicely done.
GG, Nathan MG. Just a smidge over the 2-hour mark.
You're talking about like, levels with the difficulty. It challenges a different set of skills in some cases. You know, the easier a level is, the more favored a player will be for one shots. The easier they are to get, and the more, you know what I mean, that will favor someone and help them out. The harder the difficulty ranking, the more it tends to favor consistency. Where that line is in the middle makes for the interesting dynamics.
And to Endless's point about knowledge gates, that's such a hard thing to account for. Like, it's such a hard thing to account for, because, like, even if someone doesn't have, like, even if someone doesn't have a lot of, I don't know, what's the word? Like, even if someone has a lot of, like, physical, like, thumbs experience, they can know about tech just from being around the community that others don't. And so, like, calling something a knowledge gap is, I mean, people learn things at different speeds and at in different orders. So there's no, like, true linear progression that we can say, everyone learns how to double shell jump, you know, at this point in their Kaizo journey. It's like, no, everyone takes different roads to get there. So something like Yoshi Fly, someone might legitimately learn how to do that much sooner than someone else. And that's no one's fault. I say all this to say that we're trying. And we're listening. I promise. Yes, this is different. Part of the reason it's different is because we don't want you to feel like your feedback is not listened to and taken, like, into consideration. Like, we want to make this better. We want to listen to you all to figure out what that is. So we appreciate it. We're going to keep doing this. Maybe not like this. Like, we're going to take a few weeks off and be a little more chill about things for a bit. But
I think we are going to, we have some easier levels coming up.
The next time we do a level like this, it's probably going to look a lot like this. It's probably going to feel like this. And it's probably going to have the same sort of levels of warning or same sort of, you know, prep time in its own way. I think back, one of the things that and Glitch, you remember this level, I'm sure you do, Prestinator's shell level.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time we ever felt like, okay, we need to do something just a little bit more than a number. And I think that was a really good thing to do, because if we had not done that and we just threw a 7-star Chefy-esque level at people and just said, have fun, there would have been a lot of unfun had, I think. And that level was really freaking cool. It was just a different experience. And I think we can do more to accommodate that different experience for levels that need it. And hopefully,
to that point too, you know, having to balance a lot of experiences. Like, back in the day, there were Mario Maker 1 races. Maybe they still do races now, but they used to have Mario Maker 1 races, and they had 2. There was an easier level on Friday and a harder level on Saturday. Where we're at, I think, you know, it takes a bit of volunteer power to get this all done in the first place, and so we have one night a week that we're doing this, and somehow we actually do need to balance the needs of players who want easier levels and players who want harder levels. But we're doing that on top of itself, right? So there's not a dedicated day. There were 3, not 2. I only remember there being 2. I guess I was wrong. I only remember the Friday and Saturday ones. Maybe that was after my time, or maybe I didn't. Yeah, okay, I believe you. I just don't remember that.
They do still do races, at least enough that this GDQ, there's going to be another Mario Maker 2 relay in prime time on Saturday. So they're still out here doing good work in the Mario Maker racing scene.
There were 2 on Saturdays? I guess I just didn't. Oh, my bad. My bad.
So we haven't asked this question yet because we've been kind of focusing on the race, but what all are you been playing lately? Like, what's been crossing your flashcards and your emulators these days? Come on, Rogue.
So close. They made it all the way, but they needed extra height because they have to dive bomb at the end of that. Oh, I'm playing Precision 86.
Yeah.
And Pinball.
I will say, I've really enjoyed Chicanery.
That has been a good one. I've seen a lot of people playing that.
It's old school in a way that you might not have expected Bufflin to bring the heat, but Bufflin and Nerve did a great job with that. And it's old school, but it is really fun and it's really well made. Also, I did play Birthday World 2. I don't know if I'd go so far as to call that well made, but I had fun. 3D Salmon. Yeah, I wanted to be as graceful as I could. Why not? But I'm having fun with it. Yeah, shout out to Revelugs, My Favorite Things, also a recent drop. We've had, I mean, it comes in waves, but we've had a good run of really, really good stuff from friends of the ROM Hack Races community.
Those Jigoku 3 levels. I got the Chuck one down, but I didn't do the on-off toggle switch level yet. This has been a really nice race to watch.
It has.
Like I was really curious to see, and you know, you never want to predict too much, but I was kind of thinking we might get some clears, you know, sub 2 hour, sub hour clears. The possibility was there.
It was. Now, I think we can say now that we're 2 hours in, and this is from your perspective as one of the testers, Glitch, but this level did get a 10 for hardest trick execution. What was the 10 for you?
Well, I was rating it for the Yoshi flight, and I was also rating it a 10 for some of the really fast switching that you're doing. You're doing the 10 for me was kind of the complexity of it, which was you're maintaining P speed by running forward and you're switching at the right moment. Then you're doing something while you're switched and you're continuing to run. I thought that warranted enough of it. The 10 in particular, I think the Yoshi flight. But like you said, that's one of those tricks where like I rated it 10 for the people for whom it was not second nature. You know what I mean? You're not rating it for the skill of the strongest player in the room, but rather the median player. And I felt like for a median player, this would hit a 10. I think for me personally, and I think a lot of maybe the other racers would agree that this is maybe more of a 6 for execution. But I've learned in the past not to underrate things, because I think that's a thing that I tend to do. I'm not trying to brag about it. I just tend to do that. You know what I mean? Don't ask the Incredible Hulk how heavy the object is. He's not going to tell you an accurate answer. But that's just it. I really think that, like, skill of the racers really is like the big oscillator of whether or not a level really is a this or a that. And I think that's the perfect point to make, is like a racer who struggles on a 10 will also struggle on an 8, but a racer who struggles on a 7 won't struggle on a 4. A racer who succeeds at an 8 will also succeed at a 10, you know, or something that is a 10, or something that is a 10 for less experienced players will be a 4 to a 6 for more experienced players, and it's really hard to not have that happen. Just in general, I like challenge for level makers. Can we come up with a level where like it is decidedly an 8? Because just to Doc's point that like as you get closer to 10, the distinctions kind of become random based on whether or not you know the tech or the trick. That's the only thing really. You don't lack skill, you lack this particular esoteric bit of learning. It's not that you're not a scholar, you just haven't read this exact book. And that's less a test of skill. At a certain point for talented players, at a certain point you're no longer testing skill, you're testing knowledge. And how do we avoid that? You know, how do we avoid a knowledge, something that is a skill check and not a knowledge check that isn't going to gatekeep everyone who can't do a drop yump? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's tricky, you know. If you want skill checks that aren't knowledge checks, you're doing mid-airs and yumps and frame perfect stuff. And even for really skilled players, that does get annoying. I'm pretty good. I know a lot of you are pretty good. Do you want to hang out and try to get one quantum jump for an hour as a race? Do you? Is that going to be, like Doc was saying, is that going to be fun? Is it going to be fun to watch as an audience for racers to do these really intensely skilled, you're doing 8 yumps in a row, then a no P-speed midair to get the checkpoint? You know, if your name is TJB or 2-year-old or maybe GC7, Louis Duce, yeah, you know, there's a subset of us that are into that. But there's rock and roll fans, and then there's people who competitively try to be the fastest guitar shredder. You know what I mean? The subset gets lower and lower, and at that point, I don't think we're hitting enough of the audience to make, like, you know, the races. Is it Roke or is it 3D Salmon here at the end? It's neither.
Yo, Halcyon, thanks for the raid, and well done. I'm curious, did you think you needed to do that ceiling clip, or were you just having fun with it? Speaking of which, Mr. Hank Scorpio over here.
Uh-oh. Having fun with it. I like that.
Okay, good, because we were a little curious because you kept going for it, and we were like, wait, does Hal think that we were asking you to do that on purpose?
You know, without going in the pipe, it's possible to assume that you don't need flight. Like, if you really look at the obstacle, you see you're being given a runway here, so you probably need flight. But if you don't actually know what's on the other side of that pipe, it's conceivable that all you need to do is get in there. So I actually think that was worth going for from that limited knowledge perspective.
Well, Endless, I think part of the thing is that's why we gave the clear video for this one. The idea of the trick isn't hard if you know it. We gave the clear video so that if people wanted to know it, they could. Now, are we going to do that for every level? No. Are we going to do that for... Yeah.
That's a really good point, though, Doc. That's exactly to that point. The Yoshi Fly obstacles in this level, the dive bomb at the end of the first section and the tongueless or not tongueless or both at the end of the second section, that is really just like, if you know how to do that, it's easy. If you don't know how to do that, it's hard. And so exactly what Doc said, the clear video is to help smooth that out a little bit and give players more of a fair chance. Oh my gosh, the sync though.
Come on,
Let's go, Roke. I think they got it. They know what to do. They know they need to be up high in the sky, so that means really precise left
There we
inputs.
go. There we go.
Yes! Yo, let's do it. The caution. Good job.
Well done, Roke.
Well done.
Oh,
Mr. Hank Scorpio, no way they did it. They got in with the Yoshi.
Gamer.
They did another type of cheese to get into that pipe with the Yoshi. They didn't do the flight. They got through the ceiling, they got on Yoshi, and they scooted out and used the edge of that platform to jump in. Smart and talented.
Yeah. Oh, and Rook with the credits box. Shout out to Orca. Orca's level mutation run. The inspiration for this per Gui's message box. If you haven't played Titan Mario, it's awesome.
It's talking about a separate pre-existing knowledge rating. I don't know if that would be as helpful. So then we have the pre-existing knowledge factor of 5. That doesn't. I don't think that really informs anything. Like you need to have X amount of pre-existing knowledge, but not knowing what that knowledge is, it doesn't. I don't know. It's not as helpful. Maybe like experience factor. I don't know. I feel like that it just gets close. Like it's just like this slippery slope between like we're telling them more and more and more and more. I guess the question really, and maybe Doc, this is something to talk about. Do we? Is it worth hanging on to the sight read formula?
Shovda got it off stream.
Oh, I was going to say they're playing Precision 86 now.
We were so hypnotized by our own philosophy and our own that we missed Shovda, and I feel bad about that, Shovda. I'm sorry, but GG Shovda. And now we can watch Shovda play Precision 86. No, we do have other racers, but I blame the purple screen personally. That's who I blame. But Glitch, what were you asking? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just like, do we? And this is more of a question like for the community, for the people who race this. Do you like this more? Where we do have a harder level, but we give you the clear video? Is it that like, because we make certain things for these races based on the fact that people are going to be sight reading it, and the idea of, well, you know, we have to figure out how to tell them what tech they need to know ahead of time. We have to figure out how to like give them a little hint about how difficult it is. Do we just not want to do sight reading anymore? Because I don't mean that as like a facetious thing, like angry. Maybe not. Maybe we could just have harder levels and do this kind of hard level clear video posted 5 minutes thing, and then people can choose whether or not they want to watch it. Maybe it's time we evolve in that direction. You know, I'd be willing to entertain the idea. Or we do this, we establish a thing that says, for levels 8 and up, we will do it this way.
That is where I'm leaning.
Yeah,
and I think it goes
that
back,
feels good
because it goes back to what I was saying about experiences. People, I feel like, enjoy the experience when it is a 6 or under of the sight read. I think they enjoy that, and I think it makes for a more pleasurable thing. And I don't know if changing that for the sake of, just like we don't want to like over nerve, or we don't want to like make things too difficult, we also don't want to make things too easy.
Fair.
And I think there are some levels where a clear video wouldn't really do anything. Like this one, yeah. I think it goes back to managing what we've been saying all along, is managing expectations. And I also think going forward, what this week has taught me, and I think what the overall kind of feedback and experience has been, is right now, and I think, Glitch, you can speak to this too, we had been in a place where if something was on the borderline between like a legitimately hard level by our standards and a good example, Alex and Squirrely Man's level from a couple weeks ago. There was significant effort made to try and pull that back a bit. It was kind of right on the borderline between an expert race and not an expert race. And we, as we had in the past, leaned towards pulling it back from expert. I think what this week tells me is that rather than doing that, we can have expert races like this.
Yeah.
So I think going forward, we might want to push levels that are on the edge in a different direction while maintaining the experience for everyone. But I think we need to have a very clear distinction between levels that are this caliber and levels that are lesser in difficulty. I don't want to say lesser levels because that's the wrong, but like levels that have a lesser difficulty rating. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's to the point that, like, you know, we have one race every week, and so we're flip-flopping and we're doing these on top of each other. That we don't have this, it might be a little easier at managing expectations, might be even easier if we had this is definitely the hard race and this is definitely the easy race, and you just kind of like, you know, you can sign up for whatever you want. But that's not the case. And honestly, I don't know if that would be the best play for where we're at right now. We would significantly need to expand person power.
Yes.
For that to happen.
I think one of the things that I really like is that we've gotten also a wide variety of makers. As hey, Roke, GG, thank you for the raid.
GG.
This is a GUI level. Like there's no of like this is the there we go, salmon.
3D salmon. That was so good. They worked. Sorry to cut you off. They worked so hard for that Yoshi fly. They really worked for that. I love that. Good job.
No, they earned that.
Yeah,
excellent.
That was a good
clear.
fight.
Excellent clear. And excellent job, Salmon. Well done. No, I like that as Nix, thank you for the raid. I believe, and I did not expect to have to say these words tonight, I believe this is our final four.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, we were not expecting that, but I believe this is...
It's funny how this worked out in just, like, the extra hour was just, like, exactly the time. You know what I mean? Like, it worked out pretty much the same way as it would for a 2-hour race.
Yeah. Which I think goes back to managing expectations, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. People seem to be having fun with this. Maybe I'm just musing at this point, but people seem to be having fun with this, and... You know, I think it's evident. I think people get it. You know, we work really hard on these, and I think people get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, we could do more tough stuff. We could do more easier stuff. I don't know. It's a good race.
I can't say for certain we'll do more like this, but I will say that I want makers like Gui. I want makers to be able to come and sign up to make a level with us and know that they're going to make what they want to make.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely
recognizing that we have a race to run, and like we have some considerations there that other people don't. I want people to feel like we're not going to hold them back.
Yeah. That's important to me as well, to actually let the makers do what they want. If we're not celebrating the makers and we're just asking them to make something in our mold, what are we doing?
Yeah. I will say that personally, I try not to let this, like, I don't want to say try not to let this get to me, but it's one of the things that I've heard that I do take seriously. And that's the idea that I think that ROM Hack Races has played a part in setting sort of a community-wide meta of what people are making. Just because everyone's making levels that fit a race mentality. And so, like, people make whatever they want, but they're making it to our meta, which I think we're just one, like, it's like we're one avenue for showcasing work. Like, I don't want the entire community to base what they make off of what we want.
Yeah.
Like
the readability of a... Oh, sorry to cut you off.
No, we have specific things that we look for because we're putting on a show, if I want to be blunt about it.
Yeah, exactly. The readability, the site readability of a level is only as valuable as the venue that you're playing in, right? Like, site readability isn't the ultimate good, but it's important if you're making it for a race, right? So, like, that distinction matters. Maybe I'm not being clear about that.
No, I think so. Like, I mean, everyone's talking about...
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But, like, if Anon wanted to make a race, I would want Anon to feel like we weren't going to tell him what to do. And I think this was what... We've tried to have it both ways. Like, we've tried to soft pedal like makers into trying to convince them that it would be a good idea for them to change what they want.
Yeah.
And
I thought of a good analogy.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the makers are all like cooks, and they all, like different things and have different tastes and make different dishes. And ROM Hack Races, every week we have kind of a potluck where, different people bring their different ideas and things and that, and everybody wants to make a dish, and they're bringing it to the potluck hoping that everyone that comes, the racers and the viewers in chat, will enjoy it in some way. I definitely want your grandma's interesting recipe, but at a certain point, people, if you really like mustard and oyster sandwiches and you eat them every day at your house, cool. But at a certain point, you've got to think that this isn't the thing to bring to the potluck. You know what I mean? And that's like, I don't want to tell you not to make oysters and mustard sandwiches, especially not if you're using Da Vinci's fancy yellow mustard. But at the same time, think about the fact that you're bringing it to the potluck. You know what I mean? And that's just like, I don't tell anybody what to do. Maybe that your interesting creation is really good. Some people will like that, but like at a certain point, we're trying to serve a large amount of people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Funny you mentioned that, North. We actually had a level like that. I don't know if you remember this glitch, but Pretzel Plains by the anonymously labeled Team Pretzel, who had never made anything before and has never made anything since. Team Pretzel is actually just a whole bunch of random people that Ampersand got a train started and basically like just passed a MWL file around and was like, hey, make a screen, and then just pass it down. So I don't know if anyone will ever know who all made or who all is in Team Pretzel or who made what. But yeah, that was a backup level, and that was a like, oh, we need a level. What are we gonna do? And so Amper was like, I got this. And of course, what resulted was delicious.
It makes me think, if y'all want to do, if you really truly want a 10 out of 10 out of 10, I promise you that I can make you something in Mario 2 that would flatten everyone forever. And maybe that's me being cocky about it, but unless your name is Cool Kid, Lack Attack, a couple other individuals, Andrew G, do you really want a 10 out of 10? Because I'll give you a 10 out of 10.
Please enjoy this interlude of goats from Mr. Hank Scorpio.
Yo, let's go. Yo, and 4-H. making it to the checkpoint.
Yeah, and
Let's
4-H.
go.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's a huge achievement. Nicely done. Well played. Germ Dove looking for that Yoshi fly to wrap it up.
Come on, Germ Dove.
Oh, they need the height. They need the height. They got to get up.
Just enough.
Whew. Wow. That was just enough. That's like the lowest ground pound. The least, that was optimal. It's an optimal ground.
And there it is. Well done, Germ Dove. 236.
We got so what you're saying is we have less than the final 4, like right within the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. The extra hour I think was a good play.
I do too.
Thanks for also Doc. You know, no, maybe no one said it yet. Thanks for restreaming. Thanks for all you do.
Oh, of course.
We can definitely. I got some shout outs to give as well.
Go for it.
Fen for helping us out with everything. Kelgan constantly on the tech support. RB Pimlico, Fen, Silent Snake testing this. Star Lord and Chair Evie, I think we're on the scouting. Thanks, Doc, for helping. Thanks.
Yeah, and thank you, Glitch. This is an extra hour a year night too, so thank you.
No problem. It's all good. It's fun. I like y'all. Cool. We got Mill Grips. We got Mr. Hank Scorpio. We got Ann 4-H.
No, Fane, you had a really good reason, and I hope everything's still going as well as it can in your household with your new family member. It's a dog, by the way. Don't get the wrong idea.
Aw, I was gonna ask.
We have such a just robust community. Like, even in the next few weeks, we've got levels from next week. We got a level from Lifa. We have Mars Ampere's making a level for us in a couple weeks. Leak Fool, who I know I've seen around in a few places, is going to be making a level for us in 3 weeks. And then 4 weeks from now, Fire 150 makes a return. Nice. One of the old guard of ROM Hack races by this point. So we get a fire level. We are still so just as a heads up for everyone, we are still taking June 3rd off. That's the Saturday of SJDQ, and a whole lot of us are going to be there. Straight up, not sure we'll have the people power to put on a race. Plus, it's nice to. One of the things we learned when we did this earlier this year is taking a break is fun and good and healthy, and we should do it more often. So,
yeah,
we're taking a siesta.
Plus, a lot of people are watching GDQ anyway.
Yeah, that's gonna. And honestly, at that point with schedule drift, that's gonna be right in the middle of the Mario Maker 2 relay and Pooh's Bear in a Shell run. Plus, even at that point, it might, like, even if they're ahead, I still don't want anyone to miss Super Metroid. It has been so long since Super Metroid closed out of GDQ.
Oh, is that? Are they closing it with? I didn't see the schedule yet.
I'm fairly certain that Super Metroid is the hammer this year. 100% co-op. As Hank got up in the ceiling in the set. That's the first time I've seen that.
Got up in the ceiling. Hank is up in the ceiling. I was just looking over. I'm like, Hank's in the ceiling right now.
And now Hank is on the floor. There is a blindfolded run. Bubsy is doing blindfolded Breath of the Wild as a bonus run.
Yikes! That's gonna be really neat. I can't wait to see all the position normalization tricks.
And he's doing it on stage.
Cool.
So make sure you hit your donations in that week so we can help make that happen. Also, I don't think we've talked about this here. Shoujo running Sure Shot.
A Shoujo Sure Shot run from Sure Shot starring Sonic the Hedgehog at SGDQ.
Indeed. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm just going to tell you right now, you are not going to want to miss that. If you did not see Shoujo's run at Frost Fatales earlier this year, not only is the run amazing, but the banter that will be coming forth for that race is going to be legendary in and of itself. So that's going to be Friday afternoon. Sure shot is on Friday, depending on where you are. Check the GDQ schedule. It should auto adjust to your local time. And we'll keep you posted here because there's some other ROM hacks that are being featured, believe it or not, that aren't Mario. For instance, did you know, Glitch, that I forget if it's right before or right after Shoujo's Sure Shot run, something that has been featured in a ROM Hack Races Hack Attack is being run on the SGDQ stage.
We're getting Kaizo Monkey Ball.
We are getting Kaizo Monkey Ball.
Yeah, that's gonna be rad. I actually love the Monkey Ball games. There's something awesome about ball rolling video games. But for real, they're great.
And also making a return to the GDQ stage, a run that I have hosted for in the past, Snolf, which is a Sonic the Hedgehog 1 hack.
Bless you.
Yes. You know how this year's questionable level design contest had a fair representation of golf? There were several golf levels featured this year's. Snolf is a Sonic the Hedgehog 1 hack in the style of a SGD QLDC golf level. So each stage has a par that you have to hit. And you send Sonic the Hedgehog flying like a golf ball across the stage. It's beautiful chaos.
Wonderful.
So there's also going to be a lot of representation from friends of ROM Hack Races. Monday night, friend of RHR, Dan the VP, is going to be doing a run of Bloodstained 2.
Oh, dang.
As part of a Bloodstained block with the Blacktastic, Bobby.
Nice.
Good friend all.
Yeah, glad Bobby's getting a run again. That's rad.
Bobby deserves it, to say the very least, after last year. We're gonna have a good GDQ. It's gonna be fun. We've got a month, so don't worry about that. But be on the lookout. And I will also say, if you are going to be there, be on the lookout because there might be a few activities happening during the week that might feature some of us participating in some shenanigans.
I'll just be sitting at home, I guess. Then.
Well, these will be shenanigans you can participate in too, Glitch.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's not just for people that are there.
I'll miss everybody.
Yeah,
I'll miss you.
We'll miss you. We will.
Yeah, you'll be having a ton of fun though.
This is much more official than that, Millie. Although I will say, expect a whole lot of stories about some very weird things. I think I've always wanted ROM Hack Races to be sort of like a community center for the entire community and not just for our own purposes and people. So I really enjoyed this week. I want to say thank you to everyone who got excited and not scared or cynical when they saw the number come out.
Yeah.
And I appreciate y'all's patience and willing to work with us because we really are trying to make this as best we can and recognizing when we can do better and recognizing when we can do more. And
that's a good way to put it.
I appreciate your willingness to put up with us and help us keep doing this stuff because we don't do this for us. We do it for you.
I also do it a bit for me. I enjoy it myself.
I mean, I enjoy it, but I don't want to bend the will of this whole party around my desires.
Fair. Second.
So I was randomly searching through, I forget what I was looking for. I think I was looking for some, I'm not entirely sure, but what I found, and I've never seen this before, Glitch, I found the Donkey Kong Country editor.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen that before as well, actually.
It's complicated.
It breaks and falls apart at the slightest provocation.
At a breath.
Yeah, that was my experience with it as well.
But it's there.
Yeah, I did see that. So my experience with that was I got it and I downloaded it, and then I loaded up Donkey Kong Country in it, and I went into the first level and I started placing some extra trees and rearranging where the trees in the background were, and then the whole editor crashed. And that was the extent of my experience with it.
Yeah. I say that to say we've not necessarily gone out of our way here to do non-Mario World, just because, quite frankly, it's what we're best at, and it's with the people we have, it's kind of hard for us to branch out. Now, when people come to us with other games and levels in other games, we are more than happy to do it. We have had more than a sampling of Mario 2 over the course of the years, and even some Mario 3 and Yoshi's Island, as we've talked a little bit about here. But I want to bring something up to people, just to kind of give you a hint, because I think this has kind of gone under the table, or even though it's been announced publicly. So this summer is KLDCX, and trust me, I'm aware. But after KLDCX, SMW Central is going to do something it hasn't done in an extremely, extremely long time, Glitch. It's going to host a non-SMW level design contest.
Oh, cool. I'm entering that for Mario 2 then.
Well, it's actually a specific game.
No, well, never mind.
It's a Super Mario Brothers 3 level design contest.
Neat.
And I think the plan right now is we're going to work with our friends and partners at SMB3 Prime, which is the home of the SMB3 editor and the Discord community around Super Mario Brothers 3 ROM hacking. We're going to put together some resources for people that want to give that a shot. And then we're going to do what we do best, and we are going to have a level design contest for SMB3.
That's really cool. I didn't know that was in the works, but that's awesome.
It's going to be happening around October, so give people some time. And also KLDCX. That's kind of.
Is it just me, or does Mario 3 itself have the vibe of October, fall?
No,
is it just me, or does Mario 3 have the same vibe as autumn?
No, I can see that. I think it's
just like, I don't know, there's something about it.
I think it's the Tanuki leaf.
Maybe it's the leaf. The leaves are falling in autumn. That might be it.
Now, Millie, that's a long ways out. So I'm sure more people will have a lot more information about that as it gets closer, but I just wanted to let y'all know it's on the horizon.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you the truth. I'd probably not throw my hat in the ring for Mario 3 testing or judging, rather. I think that would be better left to experts in the field. Yeah,
we're going to be working with the SMB3 Prime.
Yeah.
Big Joe and all of them are really good people, so.
Yeah, that'd be better left to them.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what people make. That's awesome. I want frog suit levels. Maybe I'll make a frog suit level.
Frog suit levels, let's go.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga,
someday maybe we can have a Mario 2 design contest someday.
Yeah. We'll
get 2 submissions.
Baba Yaga, if you're still here, I want you to make a frog suit SMB3 level.
I would love to see more frog suit usage in Mario World. The power up has been ported over. You can make SMW frog suit, and there is so much potential for that. I was kind of surprised. I was really, when Waterworld, when it came out, I was like, okay, surely we're going to get a frog suit level in Waterworld. But no, I don't know. Everyone's sleeping on the frog suit.
Germdove, GG. Thank you for the raid. Well,
can't spell Germdove
well
without
done.
G.
Without G. You brought the G tonight, Germdove. Well done. This was brought up earlier, but for those of you wondering, and I don't think he's here to say it himself, but I do believe we have permission to say this on his behalf. There is, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but there is a very real possibility that this level ends up in a hack by Gui. So, I don't have any more details than that, but it's something that was brought up, and it's a possibility.
Claimed for moderation by Glitchcat and or Louis Duce. That was such a good run.
And Fourth is doing so good.
That was good.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Mega. You could put in a hacks things that we would ask people not to put in a race, because time is a social construct, except in ROM hack races. So when time is not something you need to worry about, yeah, absolutely. But be on the lookout.
I felt strongly that the trick at the start of the first section should be nerfed, specifically to prevent endless death loops, specifically for the race. Mm-hmm. Where that's someone else's hack or whatever, yeah, fine, whatever, keep it in.
Why not? I've missed having you around. I'm just gonna say that. I'm glad you're back. That is a good, yeah. I do want to hear if there are people that were racing here. I do want to hear your feedback. What Fane brought up. Did you appreciate having the open mic? Because I will admit, not having game audio was I was a little sad about that. But I think if it was worth the trade-off for y'all's comfort and y'all's ease of execution, then we might keep it for these hard races going forward.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision. It lets people talk to their chats and stuff. So,
and I do know there are a lot of people that Oh, come on, Fourth. What a bad time to frame drop. Now, Germdove has the Galaxy Brain strat by muting audio but having a Discord chat open. And boom.
Yo!
Let's go! Get on the... There we go.
And 4H, what a clear!
Heck yeah.
Good job. That was so well earned, and I'm really glad we stuck around for that. Good job.
Can we get a shout out for And Fourth, because that was huge. Also, I will say this, and Germdove brought it up. No one has gotten the dive bomb and then died because they accidentally ate the key or accidentally spit the key off the edge.
Yep.
I was a little worried that might happen, but it didn't. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the days of the... And these aren't as big a thing anymore, but things like Shellscape. Like, just the real one-off power levels that are just meant to be challenges. Things like, sort of like the mid-air hacks, but more self-contained. Like, I feel like that's kind of gone away for some reason, or that kind of thing has kind of faded away, and
I can offer some illumination about why that might be.
Yeah.
So, as a notable maker of one-off impossible levels, it's really time consuming to do. You know, like there's not a new Double Dragon all the time because it takes an endless amount of time to make. Like even if it takes someone 20 hours to clear a level, it takes triple that to build it and test it and come up with good ideas and, you know, all this and that. So I think that might contribute a bit to it. People are like, when's the next Double Dragon, or when's the next like various dragon level? It's like, yeah, when I feel like spending 50 hours hurting my hands to make it, you know? It's like, it's difficult to make something challenging.
I do wish that my holy grail for ASM is and I'll just speak, if I can speak this into existence, I'm going to. If we could figure out a way to use MSU1 to stream levels to hacks rather than have to try and manually compile them into a collab, that would be the holy grail, because I would love to just be able to throw a bunch of these types of one-off levels into a hack.
Yeah. We had done season collabs in the past, but the sheer technical challenge of getting that all to work meant that we kind of put that down.
Yeah. And so we have in our Discord, if you want to play a one-off, all you have to do is type get level slash get level in Discord, and then type in the name of the maker or the name of the level you're going for. And so it's easy to get patches, but I would just love the ability to just make a shell that it ties to a whole bunch of level data, and then that uses MSU1 to just pull your level whenever you call it, or like a jukebox. Like that's my cool. That's my ASM holy grail.
I like that point too. No, it's wild that you've gotten to the point where there's enough new Kaizo hacks that you can play them for hours a day and barely keep up. Yeah. As a moderator, I'm playing new things that come down the queue, and there's like a workload every week.
It's so different than it used to be. Because it used to be we'd get a hack a week maybe. Like 20, like, I mean, pre-pandemic, hacks weren't being made nearly at this volume, and now they're being made hundreds of exits a week, if not more. Yeah. It wasn't that long ago, why not? It was Dram, Responsible, Panga World, and like Duck Soup.
Breakfast Kaizo 1 was hanging around fairly early, but not quite that early. Yo, quality race tonight, y'all. I'm proud of everybody. You did a good job.
Excellent work.
It was awesome.
This was
Thanks.
Fun. I can't say we'll do it again soon, but we will do it again eventually.
Yeah, and you know what? And now we finally get an answer to that. Like, what would a 10 out of 10 level look like? Have you ever done a 10? What's the hardest level you've ever done? Like, here you go. You can check it out right now. You can start with the toughest one.
Here's the dirty secret. Even before Mark's level, everyone was already arguing about which of the 8s and 7 stars was actually the hardest level.
Yeah.
I still contend it's one of the FT levels, but I think between this, Mark, and the FT levels, it's gonna be. Yeah, now we have the answer. Like, what would a 10 out of 10 look like? And I told this to a couple people. Don't keep asking us that if you didn't want the answer.
Yeah. You know, and it also makes me think too, and I'm not saying let's do this anytime soon, but based on the clear times tonight, it seems like we could probably have a harder level than this. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
One of y'all is going to have to make it. I'm not going to.
Yeah, you know. You know, When I Come Around by Green Day.
Yo, how about we give, we send the love to Hank.
That sounds great.
So, we did it. We hit a 3-hour race. And
thank you, Doc. GG. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Fen. Thank you, Scouts. Thank you, Gooey, for making, all the racers, everyone for hanging out and watching. Thank you so much. you want to sign us off tonight, Doc?
I'll do my best. Yo, everyone, thank you so much for coming out this week to ROM Hack Races. A very special episode of ROM Hack Races. Thank you, Glitch, for all of the work you do. Thank you for being the voice of this place and for being the heart and soul of this place. Thank you to all of our testers, Fane, Solve for X, RBP, Snake, Walking Eye. I'm not going to be able to name all y'all because there's so many, but thank you to our testers. And thank you to Star, thank you to Chair Evie for scouting. It does take an army to put this thing on, and we have one now, and it's really cool to be able to do that. Y'all, it's an angry world out there right now, and if we can do this without making y'all angry, then we did something right. But please, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, do your best to not bring more anger into the world right now, because we need a whole lot less of it. But thank you for being here. I hope to see y'all again soon. Protect trans kids. Trans lives matter. Trans healthcare is necessary healthcare. Take it easy, everyone. We will see you next week for Life is Level. Have a good one. Say hi to Hank.
GG.
We're out.
Nice job.
Thank you.
That went really, 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 really well.
It really did.
So. I knew that was going to be a quick clear, actually. I knew for a fact we were going to probably get sub 2 hours when I got a 15-minute RTA.
Yeah.
Once I knew everything. Like, if it were really a tough level, knowing what to do would still take a long time.
Yeah. Yo, I gotta use the bathroom, so.
Yeah, well done. I'm gonna roll out and do stuff. Thank you. GG.
Right.
If you need something, I am always around.
All right, take care.